Hello, everybody. Happy Christmas Eve. Shout out to everyone rocking out and engaging with Netflix because I don't know if you know, but this movie, last I heard, is number one film movie on Netflix in 81, I think, 80 territories. 80 or 81, I forget. But I'm sure there's more than just that. Let me make sure I'm not yeah, over 80 countries the last update that I saw. So those include of course, United States of America, Argentina, Austria, Bahamas, uh, Bergen, I think is how you pronounce it, uh, Bosnia, Bolivia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Kronika, I don't know how to pronounce that, Republica, I'm just going to go for the ones I know how to pronounce, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, France, Guatemala, Guadalupe, Honduras, Indonesia, Israel, Italy, Jamaica, Kuwait, Malaysia, Mexico. There's a lot that I don't know how to pronounce. I'm not going to try. Nigeria, Paraguay, Philippines, Romania, Serbia, Sudan. Let's see, España, Peru. There's a lot that I don't know how to pronounce. Sri Lanka, Uruguay, Venezuela, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Canada, Egypt, Finland, Greece, Japan. Oh, no wonder it's in a no wonder. Uh, it's in different language. India, Taiwan. Anyways, amazing job. However, just because it's number one, do not stop engaging. Like Wonder Woman says, do not engage alone. We do this together. Because this movie, I don't know if you can see that. I just framed my poster that I got for my Rebel Moon screening. I don't know if I can see the whole thing, but this thing is glorious. It is the same size as the Full Circle poster. These were handed out. These are actually the CCXP exclusive posters that Zack and Debbie and the cast gave to Brazil. And in a few select cities, they also did screenings, and my city was lucky one, and so I got to snag one of those posters. So it's not really, it's just sitting on my office chair right now, so you can't really see it. But congratulations to Zack Snyder and Red Moon. Do not engage alone, everyone. Keep going. The goal is to get this original IP from Zack Snyder to be within the top 10 most watched hours watched or minutes watched. I forget how they calculate it on Netflix. Army of the Dead, I believe I heard was number 12, I think, within the top 12. But we need to get this in the top 10 because I think it's much deserved, in my personal opinion. It was obvious to me that these critic scores were pretty biased because they were, always anti Zack Snyder. So you know how that goes. But watching that movie, I think the last time I saw the Rotten Tomato score, it was like at 24%. Apparently, Sky told me it debuted at 9% and then got up to 24. And I was like, yeah. Watching the movie, I was in my head when I watched it, I was like, okay, let's see. Let's see. I knew it was not going to be, a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes because that site is obviously bought and paid for and owned by several studios, if you don't know. So there's agendas always involved in what movies get fresh tomatoes and what movies get Rotten Tomatoes. It's a broken system, and it's a way for Hollywood to control narratives. Uh, but anyways, watching the movie, I was blown away. I love this movie. I need to watch it a few more times. To be perfectly honest with y'all, I've just been having it play while I've been doing stuff. And I've been like listening. It's on my phone. So I've been like listening to dialogue, like almost like an audiobook as I was working and doing stuff today. And I'm like realizing details by just listening to the dialogue and not watching it, per se. I'm still engaging. I'm engaging on Netflix, but I'm like, ooh, the not seeing anything, but hearing how inflection in the voice happens in certain dialogues and scenes. I'm like, ooh, what does this mean? Why does this character say it that way? And blah blah blah. So it's been an interesting experience. So I need to actually like watch it a few more times to know what my like final score is and where it ranks in Zack Snyder's catalog. I'm not ready to rank it yet. But I did join Skywalker the Jedi on his channel for the watch along with Leon of the New Geeks, the Good Austin, and later on, Silla Abdul joined us, and Peely stopped by as well. So we discussed where it ranks for us at the end of that stream. So go and check that out. But we are here today because I have a special guest that is joining me because I did do an interview with Skywalker the Jedi and Mikey Sutton. Rest in peace to Mikey Sutton. And my intention was to go ahead and interview all of the Cool Table members, Syndicate Network, Mikey Verse. And so I got another one that has some free time. He actually is here, fresh out of the Speed Force. Shout out to my man, the Good Austin. What's going on, homie?
What's up, homie? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Shout out to you for moving things around for me to to get you on here.
Of course, man. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, I was like, oh shit, can we back it up?
To be perfectly honest, no, though. I was telling you the truth. Like I was like, okay, that's good for me, actually. So I felt like even though I was giving you a hard time, it was actually better for me. So
it was perfect.
Yeah, you had a good little holiday pre-celebration tonight?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got to see some friendos, and it's always nice being around other dogs. And I'm like, my dog's a really good boy. Like my dog's a really good boy compared to these. But no, it's always nice to see friends, and obviously, the whole time I'm like, have you guys seen Rebel Moon? You guys should check out Rebel Moon. What's it about? What's it about? And I've been telling all my friends that actually, because I'm in a couple different Discords and stuff for like gamer heads and some of my hometown friends, and all of them I'm telling the same thing, like, go watch this movie. You should watch it. At least have an opinion on it, because everyone else is going to have an opinion on it. And but yeah, man, it's a good time of the year, the best time of the year in my opinion. And you got to get with your friends and family whenever you can, even if it's just out of the blue. You're like, all right.
Yes.
Those are my favorite type of plans anyways, as the Flash. I'm like, okay, let's go do it.
Right there.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No, I get it. And I'm that like type of way as well. Like when it comes to like family and friends, and I know your situation. And so it was like kind of something that came up, and I was like, oh yeah, totally. Like 100%, like totally go for it. And I think that that's, something that we as fans of a certain director kind of gravitate to in a certain franchise, because there is like sense of family in this community and the art that we like. And so it shows in your passions and how you present yourself. But as a little icebreaker, I did want to kind of ask you, because I feel like I know you, but I don't, know the Good Austin's like secret origin, so to speak. But in a lot of chats, I know, of course, you're a huge sports guy. Shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
So Still Nation Sports Network, and your channel, you have the nickname Mad Dog. Is that right?
Some people have been calling me that. Yeah.
What is that? What is that about? Is that a sports thing?
That's in reference to Mad Dog. I don't know really actually know his real name, but it's an ESPN and a radio analyst from New York. And he has I guess it's a New York thing, like you grow up with it. But like the fieriness, the takes, like our opinionated takes as well, how opinionated they can be. But we're always translucent, and we're always, articulating our points in such a way where it's like, all right, either you agree with us or you really don't agree with us. So
Right.
I think yeah, Havoc is the one. Sin Havoc is the one who calls me Mad Dog.
Yeah, I've been seeing it in chats, and I was like, you know what? I feel like it fits, but let me just ask Austin how to fix it. So I just wanted
Hey
to
man,
kind
if the shoe fits, if the shoe fits. I always think myself when I watch him, I'm like, there's no way I get that fiery, right? But
of.
I have snapped on the sports channel a couple of times over my passion for my team or whatever is going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess if the shoe fits.
Yeah, yeah, and I appreciate, like, that's the thing that I like. I think I've told you, I'm in the group chat, and I pop into y'all streams every once in a while, and I hear that in you and Sill's voice and whoever is on with you, that I love, and that's something that I love. I love people that have passion. It may not be my passion, but I
Right.
love that other people are passionate about, art and competition and athletics and different things like that.
Mhm.
So shout out to you for not only, interacting with your own friends, but opening up to a whole community on YouTube to join you in that and actually, be a part of it, because we forget that we've been so siloed and we were separated and the world was shut down, so to speak,
Right.
right? And we're really taking for granted a lot of these privileges that we have again, privileges, right? And I kind of look back and I think about, damn, I should have been in this community way back, a long time before. But I think it's awesome that you're doing what you're doing now. Shout out to you and your channel.
Thank you.
Um, because it's amazing that you've created a space for others to share your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, absolutely. I appreciate that, man. It's weird when you think about it that way because we never come in, like a lot of us at least don't come in thinking like we're gonna have any type of effect. We just want to like share our passion with the world. And the Snyder like fandom is really what opened me up to that. And shout out to Skywalker. Like I wouldn't have started really making content if he wasn't like, dude, you gotta do it. And I did an interview with Zod writer.
Mhm.
Actually, that was my first like time really someone talking to me, just me, and rather than being on an open panel with like 6 7 8 other people. And that after that, Sky was like, all right, because Sky was actually putting together the cool table. I think it was 2 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. But when he was I didn't know he was like, none of us did, that he was putting anything together, but he kind of wanted like assemble a group of content creators, of people that he could trust and do things that he couldn't do. And it was right after that interview that I had with Zod where I was like immediately I was the last piece of the puzzle. And he put me in there and just like added the group. It was like, yo, he's like, you don't have to be a part of this if you don't want to, but I was the same reaction. That stop right there. I'm in, dude. I'm in. Because my entire life I've had the fortune to be a part of teams and be a part of teams with underdogs. Like I guess of all spaces. So I started as by myself racing. And that's just you're a part of a team, but that was like my family. So
Nice.
I got to kind of like really show my passion there. My mom didn't like it because I was like, I'd have a bad race, I'd be throwing my helmet and all this sorts of stuff. But that was just like my passion coming out. You couldn't hate for me for being passionate
Yeah.
about wanting to win or wanting to race a certain way if I knew I could have done something. And then when I got to team sports, I played t-ball as a kid too, but that didn't fascinate me. It wasn't fast enough, dude. When I got to racing, like that was when, okay, we're going now.
Right.
And football also was a little bit slow for me because you'd have like a stop. And if you weren't good enough to play both sides of the ball, there was a section of the game where you're just sitting on the sideline watching people do stuff. So I like football. I love the game. I love to watch it now, like because it's such an entertaining sport. But actually playing it for me as a kid, I was undersized one, and I was never like it's very political in New York State as far as football goes, and political meaning like if you're not the coach's son
Yeah.
or coaches dad, like the dad friend or whatever. I'm like, my parents and where I live, my parents grew up. If you're thinking about like two twin cities, they
Mhm.
grew up on the right side, and then we lived on the left side. So we don't really know anybody over there, but like a few people here and there, and like those were my homies like growing up when I was in a different school district. And then like my parents grew up in, but so were other kids that I grew up with. So it was always like, yo, the struggle, from riding the bus out of town, and into town. And so growing up like that, I always and quickly found a home. And especially with this Snyder stuff, like I got online, and it was just before everything shut down, but my friends weren't as passionate as I was about this stuff. As much as I talked about it, they couldn't get behind like the stuff, and they didn't really care, which you can't fault anybody for that, right? Everyone has their own interests, and they didn't hate me for it either, but they were kind of like, yo, we understand you're passionate about it, but like go find somewhere else to talk about this. And like I get it, right? I totally get it. So I was like, okay, you're right. And
I can relate. I can relate. So
right,
you
no,
gotta let
yeah,
me
you
know.
can relate.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was watching a lot of Twitch channels because
Okay.
I believe like Fortnite was on the up and up, and I had gotten into communities on Twitch channels, but they were so big. There were so many people talking there that it always felt like my messages got lost, or you'd have to like spend money to have the entertainer or whoever was talking like actually read your message. So I was like, I got to get the smaller communities, and eventually, I was working these hours where nobody was streaming. I was working at night, and nobody was streaming at the hours where I was working, and if it was like somebody who wasn't talking and was like streaming a game that puts you to sleep. So I went to YouTube and tried searching up like podcasts because at that time, release the Snyder Cut was a big thing, and we were getting more and more like hints, more and more photos, all these talks. So I actually was. That's when I found Sil. Realistically, you search on YouTube, and I got all these other content creators that were bigger first.
Right.
And when I started to do that, I was like, oh, wait. I'm making the same mistake. Like, don't do that. I got to search for, and I, put filters on. So I searched for smaller creators. And that's when I luckily found Sil. And he was doing long form podcasts. So when I found him, he had a backlog of stuff that I could catch up on.
Mhm.
And then when he would have live chats, I'd be able to put him on, and he would go for like 3 hours, and that would be like half my workday, or at least until like my first lunch or my lunch. So it was perfect for me. And that's when I got into the community. And then just my personality alone, you know me well enough now. Like I cannot bite my tongue. If I feel like I have to say something, even if it's like a stupid joke that no one's going to laugh at, like I got to do it. I'm sorry. That's just how I am. Like you only live once.
Yeah.
Why bite your tongue all the time? We free cunch, as everyone likes to say, free. So I'm gonna, use the freedom of speech, and I would be listening. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe you. Like I got a joke. Boom, 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 boom. Like let me make a joke, or I got a comment. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then eventually, it just started getting to the point where I was in all the live chats, or he would have a live chat while like I woke up, and it would be before I would go to work. So I would just be able to chill there and just fucking talk to everybody. And that's when I met Neo Sevens, Marcus. I met Necron. I met Skywalker. I used to try and make Sil laugh all the time. He would see my jokes in the chat and then not pull them up on screen, but be like, yo, you're wild. And he would always laugh at my jokes. And then sometimes I would annoy him. I was actually the first person, and I would spam it to the point where he had to use it. Sil Nation. I was the
Yeah.
one who like coined that
Yeah.
and just kept hashtagging it. While when Socks was like hashtagging Mikeyverse in the chat,
Uh,
super hard to get that to catch on. I was doing Sil Nation as well. So I just got lucky, man. I just got lucky to be and it started as a smaller community too. So
right.
we were all like, APAS was one of them too. She was always there, obviously. and we were just like, yo, what's up, every time, because it's so like those people are so cool, and they would all laugh at the same things. We would all laugh together, especially making fun of like WB back in the day, and then enjoying Zack Snyder's stuff, and then like geeking out all over the information, especially when the Snyder Cut was announced. We were like, it was victory lap for a whole year, and then we all like really became like a family at that point. So it was really cool. Oh, and obviously Zod, Mama Bear was there. I keep forgetting, but like I'm trying to think of the old days where of all the old avatars, because that's what I used to know. I didn't know people by their faces because they didn't have like weren't doing streams yet. So it was just like, all right, I see that picture, I see that picture, I see that picture. And to be honest, for a really long time, Necron's picture was just it was him with sunglasses, and he has really long hair.
Right.
But I only saw it from like a really small like pinpoint on my cell phone. So I thought he was a chick for a really long time. Yeah. I thought he was a lady.
Yeah.
Time, dude. But yeah, I just got lucky. I just got lucky with this community. And I think like my history of being by myself and then always finding like a home wherever I went, whether it be with a sports team. If I didn't like football, all right, then I went to cross country, and I was with a bunch of misfits there. Like people who didn't like soccer were there. People who didn't make any other teams were there, or people who were good at track and didn't have anything to do in the fall were there. And we came together as a team, my cross country team that I was lucky to be a part of. I actually, funny story, that's where I technically first met my fiance. But she was way younger than me at the point, and I wasn't even looking at her like that. But I guess she had a huge crush on me, and I was like, oh, well, I didn't even really like yeah, right. I was not. You were, if anything, like a little sister, if anything, on the team. But because that's how close we were as a family. Because I went to a small school. It was boys and girls taught by the same coach, JV through varsity and modified. So 7th grade all the way until a senior. Eventually, at one point in the practice, you were all stretching together, warming up, like cooling down. And that team, every single team that we had, we won consistently. We were counted out like for a couple of years, my first couple of years running, but like my modified year, my first, because the 7th grade in middle school, that's what I had. Middle school was 7th and 8th grade for me. And my first year I did football, and literally we had an awful coach who just like hated us. He was an old guy, and we had a bunch of like, just to be honest, like slow, like overweight people on the team. I was not one of them, but because they would mess up and they didn't know stuff, rather than teach these kids, the coach would get mad and just make us run laps. All right, do another lap. And I just remember, as my football experience, the end of it, what I remember most is running around the 8th grade team as they actually practiced. And then every game they wondered why we got blown out. I'm like, this sucks. Why am I doing this? And I complained about it all the time on the like ride home from practice. And I have an older brother who at the time was running cross country. And he's like, dude, if all you're doing is running, like come run as the right. Excuse me. So the next year I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, why don't I just do that? And I ended up doing track to see how I liked long distance stuff like that the next spring. And then I was in it. And my first year for cross country, the team that I was on, we won every single race that we were in. And we were mad that there wasn't, because for modified, there wasn't any like sectionals or like states or anything like that. It was the end. So we're like, oh man, we won everything. Like we can't go any farther. And those guys that I was with, it was like two of the quietest, like nerds, white kids that you'd ever hang out with. One kid was a very confident, like popular basketball player who was just like in all of the circles. And he was the fastest guy on the team. And then we had a black guy who was my complete opposite. His name was Austin as well, but he had black, orange hair and super tall, and he like just the complete opposite of me. But he was like one of my best friends. And the 5 of us, the 2 really quiet kids were twins, by the way, triplets. they had a sister who was running on the girls team, and just like the family that came together, that like um competition, the hills that you have to running through weather, like you don't call off a cross country meet if there's rain, only if there's like thunder. And in New York, there's not a whole lot of humidity in November, October, so you're not getting a whole lot of thunderstorms. It's like sleet. It comes down and it's hard, it's cold, and you're in the elevation up there too. So it was like some of the hardest times, like as a human being, I've ever been through. But I would not have it any other way, because you know that you were running with those guys. And you know that after you were done, the rest of the team, like the rest of the varsity, the JV, they were going to run just as hard. And while you were running, those guys, the older guys that I had the privilege to like grow up with, they were cheering us all on. They were like, "Yo, go!" So that's where like I get my loudness from, is actually from cross country, because you would have to project your voice in such a way, because you're out in the elements. It's windy. You're trying to run, like yell over other people too, so people can hear you. Reading out splits for people. You're like, you got 523. You gotta make sure that people hear you. So there's a whole ordeal with cross country. And then I didn't quit, obviously, like stay with cross country. That was my main thing. That's why I became like the Flash became my guy. I'm like, oh, if I was the Flash, I could just go right to the end of the race, or make it look like I was trying. And because it was so hard, man. It was like it wasn't fun. Everyone used to say, all my friends, when I switched over from football to running, they're like, I can't believe you're gonna run for fun. I can't believe you're gonna run for fun. I'm like, you think I want to run for fun, dude? I want to run to win. That's
Yeah.
what I want to do. Like, and I compared the high school like football team's record to compared to the cross country team's record. I'm like, do we want to like really look at these stats? And they're like, oh, it's different. It's different. I'm like, no, it's not. And if people don't know about cross country, as far as like the meets go, you would have like dual meets during the week. So if you were in a conference of a school, you would go against just either one other team or two other teams, and that's it was a dual meet. It was either you and another school, or you and two other schools, depending on like your proximity with each other, right? And then on the weekends, rather than have like a game, whatever it is, a tournament, it's called an invitational, and you would go to a course anywhere. Sometimes we ran in New York City, which is pretty cool, and a bunch of like in the mountains or at an orchard. And that invitational, you would race against sometimes 20 other teams in one race. There's been times I've raced with 212 other people. You imagine that? You want to talk about a stampede, dude? You're running like this. It was crazy. And that whole time though, you got to know that like you can't stop. You can't like let up, because your boys aren't letting up. Like your team's not letting up. And do you want to really give up in front of the rest of your team that you've been training with, and they already ran today and they already did their thing? So that type of like accountability is why I have this now, because of like, but that foundation of running. And the thing about the cross country team too, like I said, I was running with two nerds. I ran with those nerds for the rest of my time in my high school career, and we were the only team, boys and girls, for 4 years straight. We were interscholastic athletes, so we had all straight A's as a team, and we won our sectionals. For as 3 years in a row, we won our sectionals. But every year we had straight A's, and we were only boys and girls team to do that. So it wasn't like just we were jocks or anything like that. We were just held accountable, man. And it was kind of like as far as like other people in this movement, they've been in the military and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to compare that, but that's the closest thing I can get as like that type of regiment. You got to be on time to school. You got to watch what you're eating too, because if you eat the wrong thing and you have a shitty day at practice, you're going to get called out. Like, oh, what'd you have to eat today, bro? Like, oh, Taco Bell. And everyone's like, oh, geez, come on, dude. Like, we're running. Like, we have this today. What are you doing? And it would be a whole ordeal. Like, you would really be held accountable. So yeah, it's kind of, I guess, the whole backstory, the origin, I guess you don't know, as far as like why I am the way I am. And I owe a lot to my my loving parents too, who are, you know, I'm fortunate are still together to this day and still
Awesome.
live in the same house. So me and my brother, we had a lot of growing up to do because we were some wily kids, as you can imagine. But I couldn't have been luckier doing it any other way. Like if he didn't have me come to that cross country team, and so, like I had that talk with me one day on a ride home in a car together. Like my brother, and as you can imagine, like you don't talk a lot. Like as boys, you're like just like, and especially us, like we were lived in such close proximity with one another. Like we were at odds a lot. We were fighting a lot as kids. So for him to like take that moment in the car when we were younger and be like, dude, just come to cross country. Like that like really changed my life if you think about it. It's pretty crazy.
It sounds like a pivotal like moment. And your journey, Austin, like I'm honestly selfishly glad we're doing this. Perfectly honest with you, like your journey, from what I'm hearing, is sports in particular, with athletics, is very similar actually to mine. Believe it or not, I did play sports.
I believe it, dude. I believe it.
I started off on in soccer way too young. My dad was like essentially pressuring me to be at the same level as my older cousins, and so lied about my birth certificate, put me in when you're supposed to be like, I think you're supposed to be like 6 or 7, and I was like 4. So literally, my first exposure to sports, didn't know what I was doing. I was going down the other side of the field, right? Then it was t-ball, and that was my dad's passion. He was living vicariously through me, and pushing me. So then
I feel that. I feel that.
you know, you see where I'm going with this. So then in baseball, it was just pressure, 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 and then middle school, it was JV. I was right tackle in football, and then but when I got into high school, I learned about wrestling. What you're telling me about cross country kind of sounds. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You're not, dude.
Uh, Amateur wrestling, not WWF or anything like that. But I
Oh
did.
yeah.
I was a big, WWF fan at that time. I think Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar had a background in amateur wrestling. I had cousins doing it, and so I was kind of like pushed. But the thing that I really loved about wrestling, I don't know if this is relatable to you or not with cross country, but being essentially kind of more or less forced by a parent to kind of do a team sport, which honestly I wasn't the best at, and I knew I wasn't.
Right.
But choosing my own path and choosing to do wrestling, I learned quickly you do kind of place overall as a team, but the wins and losses were all on me particularly.
Right.
So if I was pinned, that was on me.
Yep.
My weight class, and about the eating thing and the diet, having to make weight for your weight class. I was 145 weight class, and my coach wanted me to wrestle at 120 or something like that. So I was never.
Damn.
But so in cross country, what I wanted to ask you is, are you doing it to place overall and time as a team?
Like how it scores?
Yeah, how it scores.
So scoring wise, and by the way, before I get into that, I wanted to say that I know exactly what you went through as a wrestler because my brother did that for a couple of years. Because our schedule was that was a winter sport, the wrestling, and cross country was a fall sport. So after cross country, my brother actually did wrestling, and we did wrestling like growing up for a bunch of years. So I know exactly what you went through. And when I stopped playing basketball for a couple of years, and I actually did indoor track, I got to see up close and personal what the wrestler boys and gals were doing, running around in the same place that we were running around with like sweatshirts on and all types of stuff, just sweating, looking like they were about to die, dude. And I would always like sneak it to one of my friends. I'm like, yo, you gonna want some of my Gatorade, dude? He's like, no, dude, get it away from me. It's got sugar in it. I'm like, I know, dude, but you need some, man. Look at you.
Keep going.
Yeah, so I get that completely. Man. Mad respect to you for doing that because it's one of the hardest sports to do, wrestling, man. And because I used to do it, and I used to get my ass pinned all the time. I used to hate it. get in the guard. I'm like, no.
What was your weight class?
I was super young. I don't know. It was like under 100 at the time,
Okay.
dude. I think I was like 90 or something.
Okay, yeah.
And then I found basketball, thankfully. So I got to be, and that's one of those sports where, like running, it's constantly on. You're constantly boom, 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 boom. Like I didn't like outdoor track because you would have your event, and then you would be done for a little while, and then you have another event, and then you're done for a little while, and then you have another one, and you have to like time management. Like for me, I hated that. I'm like, go give me one and done. And that's why I love cross country so much, because you might have to wait for your race, but like when you get there, you race and then you're done. You don't have any more like things to do.
Right.
Basketball, same thing. Like you might have to sit on the bench for a little bit, but you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it was a perfect game for me. My brother kept wrestling because he was a lefty and he did not have enough coordination to play basketball. But as far as cross country scoring goes, you race, depending on how the invitational is, it might be an unlimited race or it might be a limited race. Limited races means that you can only put on the course 7 runners. So for scoring, 5 runners place and 2 are the tiebreakers. So the scoring goes by, I don't know, it's real, like to make it real simple. Your place is the score that you get. So you want to have the lowest score as a team. And say the runners shaped out in a way where the first 2 teams had the same score for their first 5 runners. The next 2, depending on where they were, would determine like the tiebreaker. So 7 runners mattered, but if it was an unlimited race, you could put 13-10 on there. Like if you're 7 to 10 runners were all around the same like time, you might as well put them all out, because they, one of those runners might run faster than the other and might give you a better chance of having a lower score. And so you were running together. You start the race together on the same line, like you get a box. For invitationals, dude, it was crazy. Imagine like a football field, but you're starting on the sideline, and sometimes it was curved. So like depending on where you were, you could like lean over and look down the line and just see a bunch of people, and look down this way and just see like more people. I remember one time we were boxed like 12 of 35. It blew my mind. I'm like, how is there this many teams allowed to race together? Like
Yeah.
this is crazy. And the craziest thing is, they would always like funnel you down to a point to where then you would get into the course. So depending on how like quick that was, there was one course that we had, I'll never forget it, because there was this guy who ran very funny, but he was very fast. He just had like his arms were out like this, and his legs were also kind of bowed out too.
The Joss League Ezra.
Yeah, right. But like he would literally glide too. He would glide. But for cross country, you're running in the elements. You're running on grass. You're running on dirt, sand, mud, whatever it is, wood chips. Think of an element. You're running in it.
Right.
In cross country, and you're running for so long. It's a 5K. So it's 3.214, 3.25, whatever it is, miles. And it's up and down around whatever like kind of obstacle they can put in your way. There was a lot of fun courses, but this one was at, I think it was called Gilderland, and you would just go down a straightaway. It was like a bunch of softball fields, and then they just right angle turn to the left, and there was so many people. It was like and they have like flags, like a rope, like guiding you there, so that you can't go to the left, and everyone's trying to go left, dude. Everyone's trying. And I remember our team strategy as a team have a strategy. We all kind of just like drafted off each other and ran in each other's legs so we didn't trip up, and got to the outside. And as soon as I got to the outside and we were about to make the left hand like corner, that dude who ran so funny, somebody like clipped his knee into the other knee, and he slid in front of 100 people at least, just on his side, like just a cartoon, just I'll never forget that. But that
Dang.
type of shit would happen in a race, and you're just like, oh, you gotta keep running. Like he's
Yeah,
gone.
that's
I'm not gonna stop for that guy. I gotta keep running. And it was just like it was almost like uh like warfare without like warfare, right? It was just like get to that point like your life depends on it. And I was lucky enough to be for a while I was like the 10th runner. My freshman year I was the 10th runner. And in sectionals you could, which was like our championship meet, you could run 10 people. So I was lucky enough from my freshman year to be like on that team. That on that team my freshman year we came in second, and we had just lost, like, and I wasn't fast enough. The seventh guy, I was pushing him forward and forward, and I like didn't give enough. Like it sucks when you finish a race and then you're like, damn, like I feel like I could have gave more. Like that's the worst feeling of all time. And I felt that afterwards. And I remember turning around. We only had one senior who was his last race on the team. And we were all like trying to get him, like, come on, we got to get, his name was Chuck. We got to get Chuck like a championship this year. Because he had came in second 3 years in a row before that. Like, all right, we got to get Chuck a championship. It's his last year. Let's do it. He's got too many. We had second, we get patches when you won, and the patches for second were brown, like maroon color, and the patches for first were white. We're like, we gotta get him a white patch. We're gonna give him a white patch. And when um I finished, I knew we didn't win because of the look on my coach's face. Like he was counting the whole time. It was like neck and neck, and he was just like shook his head like nah. And we finished before Chuck did, and when he got to the line and saw all of our faces, he just like collapsed and started crying. I'm like, and I'll never, yeah, I was like, oh. And I just remember seeing that. Lucky enough, that wasn't me.
right.
I was at the perspective of seeing that, lucky enough, and I remember just like thinking like, that's not gonna be me.
Yeah.
No way I'm letting that happen to me. Like we're not losing ever again, and we never did. And like my last year was a three-peat. So freshman year we came in second, and then junior, or I'm sorry, sophomore, junior, senior year we won the title 3 years in a row. It was pretty like amazing, man. Like we all dedicated our lives to running for each other. Because after that moment, we are like, dude,
Yeah.
we're never having that happen. The guys that I won the first year with in modified, we won every single meet. We were kind of just like effing off, right? Like, oh, we're so good, like no one can beat us, da 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 da. And we all raced that last race together, and it was like Chuck was 10th, another guy was 9th, and then I was 8th, and then the four faster guys than me were like all above me, and they were just like, damn, yeah, we can't let that happen. And it's just like, all right, let's never let it happen again then. And I was lucky enough to like be the voice of the older guy of the group, of those younger guys. So by the time it was my senior year, like we were unstoppable going into my senior year. We were ranked first in the state, which is, I was pretty proud of that ranking. I knew it wasn't going to hold up just because some other teams had more competition than we did. But like we went in, we won our sectional title, and then we ended up getting like it was the highest we ever got in the state. We got 5th in the state that year, I believe. So that,
Yeah.
out of 100 other teams too, like that's the biggest race that you do is the state race. And we have our season set up every year to peak at sectionals. So the state race is kind of just an extra, all right, on top, like a victory lap for us. We didn't really care about states. Like we want to win sectionals. Because that was our goal. And our coach knew that, which is he's still coaching today. He's had multiple more championships after I left, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, that was like probably the defining moment for like me being a person. Like, yo, I really had the chance to learn from other people's mistakes,
Yes.
and have that type of perspective. Like, I'm not gonna let that be me. And I think that had a big effect on me. But as far as scoring goes, yeah, my first year I was 8th, and then I was 7th and then 6th. And then even my senior year, I still wasn't the fastest. I was the 5th fastest on my team. And that was like an honor. I was like, okay, like if I run super, super fast, 6 and 7 we don't need a tiebreaker
Yeah.
anymore. Like I'm the reason why we're going to win this race. And it, like, that was one thing too, like out in the battlefield, right? Late in the race, when all the numbers have scattered, when people have fallen away and either you're left behind and some of your teammates have advanced in front of you and they're battling up there, you're looking at another color, but that's like your enemy. And
Mhm.
the how in depth we were with our like running and our like recon and everything that we did with running, we knew the faces of the people that we were running against. We knew that, like, okay, that's the person that I gotta beat. And we're like that, and that coach would do that. He was like, see this name? You're gonna find him at the meet. Make sure you know who that is, because like you want to make sure that you beat him. And I really, in sports wise, like that's why I really gravitate and relate with Tom Brady, because he would do that due diligence as well. He would put the time in. He would do the appetite, the diet. Everything was the reason why I did basketball, was so I was running all the time. And obviously I was lucky enough to do that. And then I did outdoor track. And then after outdoor, when summer was over, I was riding my bike everywhere. Like I was constantly working and being athletic. I didn't smoke anything until I was like 17 and done with cross country, because I like that was, I needed to breathe, you know what I'm saying? Like
You need your lungs.
I need those lungs.
I get
And like obviously you get old enough, you're like, all right, I'm done running. I didn't want to run in college because it went from 5K to 8K, and it wasn't like those weren't my brothers weren't going to be with me. Like I had formed that family, and it wasn't going to be the same. As many offers as I had, like I had a ton of offers to run at a bunch of colleges, but like I just didn't have it in me anymore. It was gone, man. Like we had one thing. I have pictures of us like doing the 3P and like just like having a ball, having a time. And I was like, that was it, man. It's like that's as good as it gets. It doesn't get any better than that. On the Nike bus, like like it was the best, man. So
I
yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. And it was an honor that I had that like ability and like privilege to be a part of that team. So whenever I get invited to be a part of something else, I always take it as such. Like it's an honor, it's a privilege, and I'm not gonna like let you guys down. That's how I always feel it. I'm always like, if anyone's gonna let anybody down, it's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna be that guy collapsing at the finish line, crying because we lost. Like, no way. I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna do everything in my power. And that's again like what Tom Brady would do all his life. Shout out to, I got his jersey right behind me.
yeah.
And that's why I followed him starting off, because he was an underdog. You know, he was the 199th pick in the draft, came in as a backup, and he had to step up. Like people, I didn't never mention this either, but the reason why I was even running in my freshman year at sectionals is because somebody got injured. And that was the only reason why Chuck was running too, to be honest, because somebody got injured and wasn't running. We all had to step up in his stead, and we were unable to do that, unfortunately. So like I know what it means when people go down. You gotta step up, and if you don't, like you lose. And Tom Brady came in, he stepped up, and he never stopped winning. Like I saw the fire in his eyes that I saw. I was like, that's what we all have. You wouldn't get that either. Like I've seen murderous looks from cross country runners before, murderous, just because like they would do anything to run harder and faster than you and give more than you have after 3 miles. Like, all right, here we are, end of the race. I can see it. It's me versus you. I've seen like literal like pictures. There's pictures of me just like just gonna give everything that they have. And I see that in a lot of athletes. I saw in Kobe as well. Like it's a really, you gotta have it type of thing. And sometimes I gotta like, with our fandom, I gotta like control that, right? Because like that's how I just want to dominate, man. That's just what I want to win. I want to beat you. And that's just like how I was raised, I guess.
No, I love that, and like all these little tidbits that you're giving me, like selfishly as somebody who comes from like a psychology, like human development is what I kind of studied. It all makes sense that your development, you're talking about a lot about sports, but just your high school years, your adolescent years, more or
Yep.
less, kind of have carried over into who you are as a person. And I can relate honestly too to the cross country, when you're like, this is as good as it gets, because after I got my letterman's jacket for wrestling, I dipped out. Do y'all letter in
Yeah.
cross
Yep.
country? So you
Yeah.
got
I
your
have
letterman?
I have all that still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like a shoebox full of medals. Like there's just so much. Yeah. I never got my Letterman jacket because
Oh,
I
no
should
way.
have though. I think I could still probably go back to my school and ask for one.
Like, give me
But I
my.
have like all the patches and stuff. Like that's
That's
all that
what
matters.
when you said
Yeah.
patches, I was like, I wonder if he's got all like up and
Oh
down.
yeah. Oh, hold on a second. I actually have, and we
Yeah,
have like something better. I need
I'll,
to
I'll catch.
add one more date on it, but I can show you
Yeah, get it.
something we got from, and this was being like I said, the boys and the girls cross country team were winning the championship every year, and we were the only team winning in our school. So like the at that point, like the football team couldn't talk crap anymore. Like we were having rather than have I forget what they're called. It was like during prom week. What do you have? Like
Spirit week.
everyone gets together in the gym though.
Oh,
Um,
uh, yeah.
has a little thing. The cheerleaders are there and everything like that.
Spring fling. We had spring fling, and then we had.
No, it's like some, but like the football team usually has it. It's like a
I
something.
know. I know what you're talking about.
What is it talked about? I forget what it's called, but we used to have that for the cross country team.
Okay.
We
Well,
would everyone would go in the auditorium. Everyone in the school would get out of class, go in the auditorium, and we would get recognized for the fact that we won like the championship. And then the second year that we did it, we got jackets for it. The whole team got jackets for it, and I still got it, and it probably still fits. Hold on, let me get it out.
get it. I'll catch up with the chat while you're getting that, because we got some love in here. Some people running with Austin, South Cali guys. Says what's good. Sickness. What's up, fam? Mama Bear Art Doll. Yeah, she says I'm everywhere. You are, Mama Bear. Rock Tops. There it is. All right. Sectional champs. 8, 9.
So like I said, I gotta add a couple more dates on here, but this is when they give it. They gave this to us before when we won the second year in a row, and before we went to the state championships.
Nice. That's pretty clean. We all
That's
were
the
y'all's colors blue and white? Is that
yeah,
what?
dude. We were the Patriots, dude.
Oh, you were. We were blue and gold, so that's all. That's awesome. We had a lot of white in our stuff as well. So look at Austin, still has it. I would have never seen Josh as a wrestling fan. Yeah, yeah. Rock Talks. Actually, on this YouTube channel, there's a highlight reel of my coach put together of my first year as a wrestler. I actually went to state. I went to the state in my first my weight class, so you can see that highlight reel. So that's awesome. Good, Austin. It sounds like you're like that was a really like those years of your life have kind of cemented who you are as a person. And it sounds like with supportive parents, a supportive network of family and friends around you, that you really felt like protected, but also um like a sense of family,
Right, everybody.
and I can see how you're talking, if you're not a sports fan or anything like that. What I'm kind of seeing is that even though that happened in a sports, setting, it's kind of more or less carried out through what we are seeing today,
Yeah,
how you are very protective of everyone in this fandom. And you talked about like, how your friend, you were like, oh, I'm never gonna let that happen, I see that and how you respond to some of those trolls that kind of come into our mentions and kind of like deter us and get us in the same traps that have always kind of happened. So I think that that's kind of been a blessing that you've had those lessons
yes.
early in life, and you're applying that knowledge to today.
Absolutely, man. You're absolutely right. And I probably didn't even think about it until you just mentioned it like that. But no, you're absolutely right. And that was the thing too. It's like, um, I wasn't doing the thing that was popular, but like when people would try and say, mean things about us, like I was always got like, yo, are you talking crap right now? Because as far as I know, your team is like what, 13 and or 3-13? Like when's the last time you guys had a winning season? Okay? And we would wear those jackets around. Every time we won an invitational, we would get t-shirts and we would wear them at school proudly. And it was me and a bunch of nerds usually and like one cool guy and me and the other like cool people, I guess, so popular kids. We would protect the nerds and we'd be like, no, they're just as cool. Like you don't understand how fast that kid is, or like how tough he is, how much heart he has. He might be quiet, but he would mess you up, dude. And that's just kind of how it that's like my, I guess, my life now. My existence is always doing the thing that hasn't been popular, but loving it, being very passionate about it, being very comfortable that I'm doing it, and also protecting the other people who get attacked, who also are just trying to feel comfortable, like feel just as good as I do. Because no one's gonna stop me from having a good time. Thankfully, I got the name Good Austin. It fits very perfect. And no one's gonna stop me from trying to feel good either, which is why I enjoy your presence so much in our fandom, dude. Because you have the same energy. You carry the same light in your heart. Like, yo, don't care what you say, man. I'm gonna have me a good time, dog. Like, fuck
Yeah.
you. And you carry that same energy that I do, and I'm very protectful over that as well, because I hate when people don't let others just enjoy their existence. Like, yo, let's just let them have a good time. What were they doing to you?
Yeah.
That really bothered you that much. And um not to get in a dark place either, but I've only been in a couple of fights in my life, but usually it was over like protecting somebody, or like someone was saying something about me or my family, and it was when I was way younger. But yeah, I do have that ruthless aggression. I do. I can't help it, man. And it's like I'm never gonna pull my punches against them either. And I do it in a way though where I'm not usually using profanity. I'm usually not trying like calling them names. I'm just like, just boom, here it is. This is what I feel about you. This is you. I'm putting a mirror in front of you. And a part of that too is I'm also a Virgo, and that's like a big part of our dichotomy. If you believe in or take it or know anything about astronomy, we're very we like you until we don't like you, and if you mess with us, we're not gonna be nice.
I know Virgos all too well as a Beyonce fan.
Oh, right.
But
She's got the same birthday as me, dog. I'm pretty
September
sure.
4th,
Oh, it's 4th. Okay, never mind. I just knew she was a Virgo then.
I
Nah,
remember you said
mine's
your
the 20th.
birthday
Yeah.
recently, and I was like, oh, in my head, I was like, my sister is a Virgo. My aunt, who's pretty much like my second mom, is a Virgo.
There's
So
not a lot of us, dude.
yeah, I
I'm
know.
glad that you know a lot of us.
I do. I know Virgos very well, and you're a good guy. Like I can sense that. I can see that and how you present yourself too. And thank you for the compliment, because I think we all kind of have something about us that has drawn us to each other.
Right.
And this community has just been awesome. I was essentially like a stranger who came out of nowhere. After Full Circle, Sky and Syl and Leon laid eyes on me, but no one else did, and so just because they kind of like, I guess, more or less shouted me out in the chat one day, everyone
That's
was
all we
just,
needed.
yeah, they were just like, Jay, Josh. And I was like, oh my God, like every time I go into a chat, I get, just so much love. And shout out to everybody who's in here showing love to the good Austin, because, you are like Rock Talk said earlier in the chat. We sense that. There it is. Yeah, good Austin is ruthless against trolls. And Mama Bear, when I was getting attacked about the Flash, Mama Bear was knuckling up for me, and I was like, "Oh my God, thanks, Mama! Mama Bear coming out, being Mama Bear for the movement." So I'm just really lucky to have met you, and I hope there's a time when we can all kind of join together
Oh,
and
me too,
actually,
man.
that would be awesome. But until then, I kind of wanted to just, hear about you and learn a little bit about your backstory, because for me, selfishly, like I said, it really is making more sense. And I love that. I love that, like going in and diving deep into art. but I also love to do that with people.
with people, right?
Because that's context is everything, I think.
Well, and I think like I mean, if you really want to get deep about it, like people are art in a way, and I've always kind of had that like that feeling. People who really though making an effort to be because I think we have a large problem with people out there who do just like are kind of like sheepish, and they unfortunately just take on a lot of if you're looking at like a car wash and people go and a car going through a car wash and they're just like, okay, every once in a while, here's the soap, boom, here's the stuff, boom, and the stuff is just wiping down the car, so it looks different by the time it comes out. Like that's what I feel like a lot of people are with opinions and just fodder in general. I don't, and maybe that's just like my cynical opinion on things. And I'm not trying to say that my opinions or my views on the world are so different. But I can really see people who are like, oh, you're an original person. You're an originality. There might be, whatever, 8 billion people in the world, but you are 1 in 8 billion. And I could pick you out of 1 in an 8 billion. I see that with people like Sky, Necron, like Mama Bear, Rock Talks, Apex. Like if I saw y'all in a crowd, I'd recognize you. Like, yo, there he is. And other people I bet would be like, who are you looking at? Like, that's my dude. That's my person right there. I would be able to do that. And it's because like we are all unique. And that's a cliche growing up where like, oh, you can be whoever you want to be. I think people don't take that chance. They don't really like take that opportunity to find out who they are or who they want to be. And a lot of times they don't like do the due diligence to find out what they like and really like dive deep into things and do a bunch of different stuff. Like in my 20s, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I loved music, but the job I was looking at, like, and everyone convinced me I wasn't going to make money in, and then podcast pops off. I wanted to be an audio engineer. And at the time it wasn't like a big job. And I could have made like millions probably being a podcast producer, but it is all good. Cause now I still get to make music and I still do make music. But I'm also like an artist. When I was younger, my brother's ex-wife now, she gave me a gift, and it was like a mini artist studio, and it has like markers, and it had crayons and colored pencils and all this stuff. And I'm like, why are there so many different things? She's like, and she told me every good artist is proficient in every medium. And I was like, damn, that really I really like taken that like sense and done that in everything. Like everything I do, I try to be proficient in it. And try to have some sense of skill, whether it be graphic design or video editing or making music or painting or sculpting or anything like that. I wish I had one of my paintings available. I think I do.
Yeah, I'd love. Shoot, that's a freaking Zack Snyder-esque quality to
Let me
be a
see.
fan.
Yeah, hold on.
You better go get that. I wanted to highlight actually South Cali guy was saying, hey y'all, Zack Snyder just posted the post on Vero. It was a screenshot of the Rebel Moon Creepo saying everything has a price with hashtag sell Snyderverse to Netflix, and he liked it. Whoa, I don't know what that means, but I'll have to go check that out, South Cali guy. Thanks.
All
for
right,
that.
so this is my painting box that I made.
Oh, let me. How do I make you bigger? Do I?
You can just click on it'd be on my. You have to
Oh,
actually click on my. You click on me though.
All right.
There you
There
go.
you go. I'm still learning.
You're good. You're good. This is my painting box.
Nice.
This was pink before, and it's got all like my painting stuff in it.
Is that area code 251 or no?
Come on, I can't. 251. That's actually my friend's group's name. So.
Oh, okay.
So that's another story for you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's little Easter eggs.
Little Easter eggs. Yeah, that's another story for you guys. But yeah, my friend group, we had our initials were FB because where I was is like a fort or whatever. It used to be an old fort. So our basketball team name was Fort Ballin. So FB was like our group name. Funny enough, but they were in calculus class, and they had to do like initials and type their initials in, and like it came out to a number if you did some certain equation. And they did FB, and it was 251, so that was our number. But
Nice.
this is
Eh,
I did the planets. My lady did the little alien, and then I
no,
did all the shading and stuff on that.
that's
But this is unfinished because this is the alien pickle on his way to planet Olive, which is going to be back here. That was me and my
nice.
lady's collaboration
A work in
together.
progress. Look at that.
Yeah, a little shiny. So
Y'all
there's
should have
that.
that displayed at the ceremony, or something.
And then this I probably shouldn't be showing because this is going to be a gift to somebody. This is also another work in progress. But this is kind of like a view. Can you see it? I'm going to turn
Yeah,
this light on.
it's like a landscape.
This the paint is like reflective on top. You can't really. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell, but
Yeah.
it looks like a sunset. Or
Awesome.
like the sky's going down at the end of the day. And this is my garage actually, and it's gonna be my friend dunking and breaking my rim, but I just did the outline of it, and I got to paint his actual figure in and do all the rest of the detail. But I spent a lot of time on this part. It's hard to see the detail in it. You can't
Is
really
that
see
like
it.
a water? Like what is it, like a special paint kind?
Yeah, it's like it's acrylic metallic paint. So
Oh,
when the light's on it, I wish I could show you guys this way. It's just too bright, I guess.
I can kind of see like the reflect. Yeah, I can kind of see certain segments highlighted.
So it changes color
Nice.
depending on the way you look at it.
Yeah, it's kind of bluish when you tilt it.
Yeah, these are both work in progresses. I guess the only finished work I have is it's out in the house. It's actually out in my living room and stuff. But I have a really cool like mountain piece that's I would show you, but it's hanging up. Like a lot of the stuff that I make, I end up using. So like it goes around the house and whatever. Because I don't really like as far as efficient as we are, like I love our efficiency as a group as far as like the cool table and everything, because that's how I do my life. I try to be as efficient as possible. So like I made a painting, but I painted a whole box that I use for my paints, right? Like so like I'm very, very useful. And around here somewhere I make like shirts and stuff too. I made a Baker Mayfield shirt. I just like whenever because you got to make stuff with your hands. I got a bag of clay over there too that's calling my name to finish a bunch of stuff. I think I had that on this table actually.
Jack of all trades over here.
Yeah, dude. It's just like when I was told that be proficient, a good artist isn't proficient in many mediums. Like, yeah. Remember how I told you I wanted to interior design your room? Like, I wasn't. I wasn't lying, dude. Like, I really do it. And like sometimes you're bored, right? So you make little dumb things like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, just whatever, man. Oh, and actually, I have so much more art, but I don't need to show it to you. Actually, I know. I just remember where I had a big stack of it. But yeah, it just comes from just wanting to create and be creative. And when I can't like scratch the itch with graphic art or anything like that, and I want to make something in my real world, then I do. It's very easy to, and it's nice. It's a gift, as it were, and I don't like take it lightly. My family, thankfully, I'm so grateful for how I was raised, because all the elders in my family always push me to like use that. Like, hey, just so you know, that's not like yours to play around with. They were like, that's a gift. Like, you have to use it and create for the world, because like you're able to do that. And I was really like hit me home as a kid, like, oh damn. And I think about it that way still. Like whenever I make stuff for the community, that's how I feel. Like, yes, I have to do that. Oh, I should say, like, I made a lot of this stuff on the wall too. At least this stuff. There's like PlayStation stuff above me and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah. And I hung all this stuff up, obviously.
Are
And
those skateboards or snowboards?
those are skateboards. I bought those. I didn't make
Okay.
those. And then my lady, because my affinity, I used to skateboard a lot as a kid. Another thing I used to do. I loved Tony Hawk growing up, and I love
Yeah.
art. As you know, I love art, and skateboards have some of the best art.
Mhm.
And there's limited edition Dragon Ball Z boards that I got. I got 2 of them at once. And then I
Crazy.
got that's a Cowboy Bebop board.
Oh, the one in the middle?
And the one in the middle, yeah, I would take that off, and I'm so scared to take it off. It's like it's very I don't want to have to put it
Yeah.
back afterwards. But yeah, that's actually I could probably show you guys a little bit better.
Yeah, show it off.
Yeah, dog.
Nice.
It's a
Those,
Cowboy Bebop board.
are those PlayStation controllers too under it?
One of them is
Oh,
this one. This one is a PlayStation controller, and then this is actually a controller that I used to play with and put my phone in it.
oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, and then real quick, some more Cowboy Bebop, and this is what I wanted to show you. Oh, I just knocked over a bunch of Pokemon cards. That's all
Oh,
it is. This is what I made this too.
nice. Is that
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods? I was gonna say
Yes, sir.
you did good. Is that
That's me.
freehand? You just freehand?
Yeah, yeah. It's all dots.
Oh shit. How long did that take?
Weeks. Weeks.
Damn.
But yeah, this is my Cowboy Bebop shit.
I'm
'Cause
waiting for that stream. Y'all are supposed to
it's
have a
coming, dude. I was just thinking about today how much Rebel Moon, and I just get rid of this, replace this with a Rebel Moon poster eventually.
nice. I
But there's
actually love that. I love that movie, but I get
there's
it.
more Cowboy Bebop stuff right there.
Yeah. I heard I don't know a lot about anime, but I heard you talk about, hey, I gotta get that with Leon. And
Yes, sir.
I joined anime club in my high school, and they were watching Cowboy Bebop. Or Bebop.
Ah,
I didn't like. I just watched like a few episodes, I think, but I really loved it. So I was waiting for y'all to do that stream. So
oh, we're still gonna just got so busy with Cell, man. Like, didn't plan on it, right? Like, just didn't plan on doing that. And obviously, I didn't foresee how much time my sports streams were going to take up this year. Like last season, we just did 1 show a week, and now we do like 5 shows a week. Yeah, so we're doing a lot of streams and trying to build up that channel, trying to build up my channel with sports, because I'm going to be racing very soon, because I've been practicing a lot and doing that. I didn't want to race. I'm going to do like there's a way I could do a season on there with just AI people, because I didn't want to start out racing and suck. I know I don't anymore. I know I don't anymore. But my gloves are right here, y'all. They're ready to go. So the reason why I got these is because it's an ode to my old racing gloves. I have pictures right here. Actually, I could probably get to you. So everyone back in when I used to race would have fancy stuff like, oh, I got the best this, I got the best that, blah blah blah. And my family, we were more like didn't have a lot of money, so we just made do. My dad would make a lot of stuff, weld stuff together. I grew out of one of my jackets once, so they got me like an on sale Carhartt jacket, which was like way too big, but they're like, you'll grow into it. I don't think I ever grew into it. I think I gave it to my dad because it was just so damn big. But I used to race with these gloves that were just like the cheapest ones that we could get, and they fit my hands perfectly. So I just wore them, dude. Oh, sick! Let's go. You guys are in for a treat. Let
Uh-oh.
me take this down.
Let's see. Let me put. All right. Throwback. Hey, there's young Barry right there.
Young Barry. Look at that.
Get his sea legs in. You're
There's my coach in the background, by the way, just
180.
looking at me with that look.
Watching over you. Nice. That was in high school?
Yeah, this was probably, I think, this is my freshman year, I think. This is the year that we lost. Or got second, I guess. We didn't necessarily lose, but that's towards the end of the race. Like I said, you're out there by yourself, man.
Yeah.
Just out there alone.
I get it. That's
Young Barry. That's
young
so
Barry.
funny.
That's what he looks like to me.
That does look like that, doesn't it?
You definitely, you can see the determination, but there's also like, gotta get to the finish. You like you can see it in your eye. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
like I gotta get there.
that's awesome. Was that
Gotta
your
get
parents
there.
who did that?
So yeah, somebody, one of the parents or something like that. And just to give you guys a glimpse of
The
how
young.
how young how young I was when I started to like racing. That's me as a little
Oh,
kid at the track.
geez. How old were you
Uh,
there?
I think I was it 2001, so I was 7. And this is
Okay.
me on the start finish line at the track, just
And
chilling.
that was, from what I understand, a Friday night tradition, right?
Friday, Saturday night. Yeah, this was actually a Saturday night because, well, we raced on Friday nights, but we went to and watched this race.
Okay.
It was it's a speedway that's not up anymore, but it's Adirondack Speedway, is what it was. And then, yeah, I mean, I have so many. This is my first, like, I have the worst face on. You guys are gonna hate my face. But this is me after my first win, dude. Just like,
Hey,
what's good?
hey, that looks like the face of a winner. You just celebrating. That's all. You got that checkered flag.
But
That's
you see my colors, dog? You see my
yeah.
colors?
Oh, you keeping it consistent on that shirt as well.
Yeah, right, dude, exactly. And then, 4 years later, still winning, same colors. And
So
then,
did you make that car? That
oh,
vehicle?
my father did. My father did. They put it together, thankfully. Um, and this is like the same year I ended up getting a new car, and a new paint scheme. But this is me and my brother, which was like the best thing in the world, man. Same time that I was like before I was running, he would race after me. I would race before him. So like if I won, I would just chill and just wait and see if he won because we would just take a picture together. It was pretty cool.
Hey, so
But yeah, doing it for a very long time. I don't have any me racing. These are all just. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. All I have is just winning pictures. I don't know what to but
well,
that's the
Austin,
oversized Carhartt.
he seems to win.
I'm sorry, guys. That's all we do. That's all we do is win. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah,
That
this is the like I said, it's my family. This is the crew, man. It's
and
hard to see.
that was your bonding time. It sounds like that
Right,
was
dude. Me and my grandpa, my brother, and my dad, 94, 95, man. That was the original squad before I got immersed in the other squads. But as you can see in that last picture, that big ass Carhartt, that was not my brother's. It was a new Carhartt. It was just huge as ish. Oh, and I think this was, yeah, look at little Bucktooth Austin right here wearing a visor.
Look at him with the little.
This is a picture in the driveway of me and my brother back in the day. Oh, it's hard to
Oh,
see.
yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, that was your lifestyle. Like that
That's what
was
I'm
just
saying. So we did. We
yeah.
raced, dude. We traveled in the trailer. We played Uno together, one-on-one Uno. You ever want to talk about one-on-one Uno games that
Yeah.
never end, dude? Dude, we used to play forever,
It
and
was epic.
you get ready and just like chill and hang out in your car and hang out in the trailer. And this is what I wanted to show you guys, like the oversized Carhartt, man. I never grew into that. Never grew into that. My yellow gloves are somewhere in there, but that red helmet, same red helmet I started with, like, and we just kept winning, dude. Like, didn't need any new stuff. Like, what do we need new stuff for? We're winning right now. I was
Yeah.
at, am I gonna get a new helmet? And my brother, because my brother's big ass head, he needed a new helmet, but mine stayed the same size, so I didn't need it. I didn't need a new helmet. I think I remember one time he went to buy me one, and I like complained about how it felt. And he's like, "All right, we'll bring it back, and we'll just use the old one." I'm like, all right, that's
Yeah.
what we did. Doesn't need to match the color of the car. He's like, "Do you care?" He goes, "I remember my dad telling me," was saying like that one time. He's like, "Is the color of the car going to help you win the race?" I'm like, "Color of the helmet going to help you win the race?" I'm like, "I guess you're right, dude."
And the Flash, Dad. Come on.
I know, come on. But the
Right?
reason why I went orange and black and then black and orange is because that was the colors of the General Lee.
Hmm.
Another fast car, because I got ingrained in the Dukes of Hazzard and the good old boys.
Yeah.
Uh, never meaning no harm, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they got in trouble with the law since the day where they was born. That's kind of, I was always a rebel as a kid. I was always sneaking out of the house. I was always doing stuff I shouldn't. Always trying to go have fun because I would work my ass off in sports. I always felt like, all right, well, I feel like I earned this. And when I didn't get that, that was the only like the only time we really clashed between me and my parents was like they wouldn't let me go enjoy my free time when I had it. And I necessarily so I was a young kid getting into stupid stuff, probably getting into trouble. But I'd go pool hopping, dude, all the time. We would play manhunt on the school grounds and like hide from cops all the time. Just be out past curfews and villages where we weren't supposed to be, stealing signs all the time. Thank God this the statute of limitations is over for all that. I, I don't have any more signs, guys. I swear. I don't have any more signs. But we used to do that shit all the time, and that's what we used to. And living in a small town, you just like have to do whatever adventure you can think of, and we would think of adventures, bro. We would go on adventures, and on those same adventures, it's you and your guys. Like, leave no one behind. Make sure you got a plan too. Make sure you guys are being effective and no one's being stupid. Because if not, you might get any slip up. Like it could cost you, and you can get in trouble. And since we were doing stupid shit all the time, if we got in trouble, we'd probably get kicked off of our sports teams, and get kicked out of our status in school. So that's also a reason why we had to be super smart when we were doing dumb shit. And excuse my language, but that's just how I grew up, man. And yeah, I guess you're totally right. Like everything kind of falls into where I am today. Because that was my foundation, but like having that foundation going forward and not knowing what I wanted to do in college, like I was like, all right, well, let me work. Let me not pay for school then, and let me like do a bunch of different jobs. If you look at my resume, dude, it's so many different jobs. Like it's not that, and I there for many years too. Like, all right, I don't like this anymore. Let me go do something else. Let me find something that I like, and then to be a pattern of like 6 months of different jobs. Because I really will go if I don't like it. All right, I don't like it. Like, let me go do a different job. And I've worked with so many different people because of that, and had the experience and had to interact and had to like form a team with people who I don't normally form bonds with, and find like a common ground. So that like all that preparation really culminates into now as well. The last like 10 years after high school and after college, like I was able to go out into the world and really experience it from the ground level. Like I'd never shied away from an opportunity to do something that I haven't done before either. It's like, all right, let's go do this. Let's go to this place. Let's go camping. Let's go out to the club. Let's go to the bar. All right, let's go. All right, let's go. Y'all want to come over to my apartment? All right, come over. Like let's do whatever, because that was the time I felt like in my early 20s that like you have to experience all this stuff. You have to go do this stuff and try out different things to see what you like. Some of those experiences, dude, I was like, God, why did I do this to myself? Like, why am I here right now? And I would never go do those things again. But you don't know until you try it. And I really, after being the dominator of like the first years of my life, constantly winning and like being able to like and having a perspective of kind of looking down on a lot of people, like, yo, you need all that stuff, you need all that fancy stuff, you need all that, like, I don't need all that. We still beat your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we're a small school in the invitational a lot of times too, but they would put our team in the bigger schools because we would kick the other, like we had no competition. It got like my senior year, we asked to be put in, we were a B school. We got asked to be put in the A schools because we're like, dude, this isn't fun anymore. Like we don't want to just keep doing this. And like afterwards, I didn't like being that person. I kind of was like, like that gets old after a while. Like, yo, let me just dominate everyone. And like, I got my guys. What are you going to do when your guys aren't there anymore and you need to find new friends, Austin? All right, well, you can't be the dominator anymore. You got to be open to new things. You got to like, you can't have your set way of thinking anymore. You got to think like, you got to learn again. And that's really what I was lucky enough to be able to do the last like 10 years. Since I was 20 or 19, I guess I moved out of my house. And I had to move back a couple of times. Lucky enough, I was able to do that too. Shout out to my parents for letting me back in. But like the whole road of everything is really now where I can be a part of this community and not shy away from who I am and not like hold my tongue on anything. And I don't feel like I ever should either, because so many people in the past have said like, "Yo, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that," and the way that's just reconfirmed, like I don't want to be too confident. I never want to be too entitled. I never want to think I'm like the smartest person in the room. But I'm always going to be confident in myself at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to walk that double-edged sword. My first 10 years I was on the, the fine edge, and then my last 10 years I've been on the rough edge. And having that perspective really helps. Me be who I am.
Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, the thing that I'm hearing from you is that lessons and people who believed in you, um, that you really took to heart at a young age, stuck with you, and pushed you and motivated you, to continue to honor those people and what lessons they passed to you.
Absolutely.
That's what it sounds like from what you're saying from as an outsider's perspective, and I appreciate that, because that shows that you're somebody who's willing to learn and to accept advice and or maybe critiques even from
Yes.
those who you care about. And I'm guessing you graduated in '09 based on
Uh,
that.
Actually, 2011. So, like I said, I need to add some more numbers to that. And that was a fall. So, '09, was the fall of my sophomore year. Or sorry, '08. Wait, '08 was the fall of my sophomore year.
Okay.
'09 was the fall of my junior year, and 2010 was the fall of my senior year. So I graduated in 2011.
All right. That class of 11.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
class of 11 all
That's
throughout high school, and I was lucky enough to go to the same school, K through 12 too. I didn't have to move, thankfully enough.
because
So, like I said, very lucky.
I remember you mentioned, I think on a stream or maybe backstage, that about your 10-year reunion. So it makes sense. Uh, 2012 just happened. So, but I don't know what the state of your high school was reunion was in, but
Well, because it got blanked by COVID.
yeah. So you didn't go to that one, but
Nope.
you still keep in touch with anybody from high school or anything like that?
Oh yeah, that's actually my guy who's down here right now, my buddy Kyle. If anyone's a part of the fantasy league, he's in our fantasy league. I've known him since first grade. Um,
Wow, y'all
yeah,
go back then.
we go back, dude. And our we had like a group, like the Three Musketeers we used to be called. These teachers used to call us Three Musketeers. It was my buddy Kyle, my buddy Tom, and I've known Tom since pre-K. I actually haven't talked to Tom in a little bit, but I am moving back up north, so I'll probably be talking to him again.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, I still keep in touch with a lot of those people, and actually the 251. So, like I said, I used to take the bus in like from out of town basically. And where I lived was on the border of like two school districts. So I actually technically I lived closer to a school. It's called Amsterdam, like where I lived. People will Google it. But I was closer to those schools rather than my school. And but whatever reason, like the school districts, like and property lines just lined up to where I went. We were within this other school district. My parents were happy about it because they grew up in the other school. And it was a big school, a lot of people, a lot of diversity, but we were a poor town, poor city that we lived in, and not the best people went to school there. And unfortunately, a lot of people were like, I don't mean unfortunately, because it's not a bad thing, but there was a lot of bad people who immigrated from New York City, or to New York City, and then they made their way to our city for some reason. Like it was very weird how that happened. But we just had so many people committing crimes and bringing things in from New York City, in upstate New York. So my parents didn't want me to go to that school. They wanted me to go to the school that was outside of the city. And thankfully, I guess I did. But because of where our property was, being closer to the other school, my parents growing up in that area their whole lives, we still mingled and fraternized with all the kids from the other school. And like I had, there was Pee Wee and like, youth sports and stuff. I didn't go to my school, my K through 12 schools, youth sports because it was farther away from home. So I
Mm,
would go to that big schools. So
right.
like when I was a kid, I was playing with completely different kids that they're probably like, what happened to Austin? Like they're probably like that because like I would never see him again. Um, and it was so funny. It was a moment where I really realized like the difference in like coaches and how big they play a role in your life, like the mentors you have as a kid. And at that big school for football, they had me as a center. Okay,
Mm,
you know what a center is?
yeah.
When I went to and that was like all through whatever football I was playing. I was a center for whatever reason. I touched the ball every time, so I loved it. And then I went to my school to play football, and they saw me running, and they saw like did like a combine or whatever, and they're like, "What's your position?" And I said center, and they all were like, looked at me like I had four heads. They're like,
Yeah. Are you
"What?
yeah.
You're you should be a running back, a wide receiver. Like what? You're
Right.
like the fastest guy here." I'm like, huh?
The
So I
fastest
like,
man alive.
yeah, right. So it blew my mind. Like when I went from like one school district to the other, and it wasn't like though I didn't go to those schools, and my parents like weren't popular people necessarily when they were in school, or like those people just didn't know my parents, so they didn't know me, and they didn't like give a f about what position I played. So that's just what it was. What it was. That was like the type of politics I was exposed to as a kid. Um, but doing that, I did actually retain some of those friends. I played t-ball with a group of kids who shared a backyard, and they were best friends. And they would always like pick on me as like a little because they were like 3 years older than I was, and our dads were best friends. So our dads would hang out, we would play, and we got older. And the same, like I said, that happened where I stopped doing the sports at this other town and went to my like school, my K through 12 school, that was out of the city. And I didn't hang out with those kids for a while, but then you get older, you start hanging out, you start seeing girls, you start going to parties and stuff. And I remember like it was yesterday going to a party and seeing like this tall ass kid who was like 6'5", just standing over everybody. I'm like, why does this guy look familiar? And like this somebody was introducing me like, oh, this is this person, this is person. I became friends with one of the kids again that shared the shared backyards. They had shared backyards.
Mm,
Um, his parents ended up divorcing, and unfortunately, and his mom lived outside of the city. So he went to the school outside of the city. I became friends with him again later in life, and he reintroduced me to my old homies again. And when I went to that party, he was like, "Oh, and here's so and so. He's my neighbor. You might remember." And we both looked at each other like, "Yo,
yeah.
it's you!" Like,
Spider-Man.
yeah, the Spider-Man thing. Like, oh my god, it's you. And since that day, we've been like best friends again ever since. So, and that guy, that gentleman introduced me to his group of friends. And those two guys that shared the backyards together as kids, they're still like my best friends. They both have kids now, and I'm going home to see those kids, and meet those kids. And I've been like just been so lucky to have that dichotomy. But yes, I still do talk to a lot of the people I grew up with, and those boys are part of the 251 group that
Okay.
I grew up with. So yeah, I've had a lot of influences in my life, you could say.
And these are just to clarify, I think I heard you right. Was this back in New York?
Yes, this is all back in New York. There's only one of my friends from New York that lives down here. And that's Kyle. That's my
Okay.
homie Kyle. But yeah, he's the kid I've known since first grade. And like I said, I've had like this weird dichotomy where I've had like a friend group in the city and a friend group outside of the city. And at one point they had them all meet and we all fraternized with each other, but it didn't happen often. And then like I would have stories of these friends when I would go hang out with these other friends, like, yo, and they would hear about all this. So I've had that like opportunity my entire life. So like talking about Snyder, like, oh, like, and then I go and talk to like racing fans or sports fans. Like it's two completely different groups, but I feel like I can bridge the gap, you know. So I've always been that bridge too between the two cities. I was a bridge
Yeah.
between the two, you know. So I love that. I love that thought process of thinking of it that way. And again, I was very fortunate of my circumstances growing up to be who I am now. And I don't like people calling me the Flash, you calling me the Flash. Like I don't take that lightly either.
Mhm.
Because as you can see, like that's one of my biggest influences as well. Is how he dealt with his personal struggles and like the fastest man alive. Like, what do you do with that power? Like, that's what I had to grapple with as a kid. Like, we're so good, but like no one wants to hear that anymore. And I didn't understand that. Like like people were still didn't care about us. I didn't realize that. It wasn't until the second year we went to and won the championship that they actually celebrated us, because the first year they probably hated us.
Right.
And I had like grapple with that and like really be graceful with having that quote unquote power. So I really took a lot from Barry and Wally West in that aspect.
Yeah, you can see that. And uh
Shout out Sky, by the way.
yeah, I was gonna say, we were hanging out, you, me, and Skywalker talking. Did you know that Skywalker used to live in New York as well when he dropped down?
Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah, for a little bit. But
Yeah,
it was very brief, I think he told me.
yeah. But we had a little. Y'all were having like a little bit of a New York connection there.
Because my god brother lives in the Bronx now, and I've been lucky enough to like go down there and have some week. Like I said, I do everything, man. Like I used to spend weekends in the city. I used to go to Boston just on a whim, like just for whatever. And I was lucky enough to do that, and lucky enough, like on the same thought process of that. Like I've been able to live in Tampa for 3 years, and my lady had the same thought process too. Like, why not? Let's go. And while we have the opportunity, while we don't have any kids tying us down and we can move, like, let's go experience it. And um, like, I feel like a lot of people don't do that, which is a shame. And I obviously, not everyone can do that, but yeah, it's just part of the reason why I am the way I am. And again, the reason why like going back home is because like yeah, the opportunity just seems right. Seems like the thing to do, and it seems like a good idea. So why not? Let's go. Let's go do it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that about you. I remember we were trying to initially talk about this, doing this stream, and I think I said like something like, "Oh, Friday," and you're like, "Oh, sorry, dog. Like Fridays, family nights, and
Yep.
family's first." So I appreciate that. But like we were saying, like I said this on a Sky stream, like you guys, I call y'all fam in the chat because I feel like it's a second fam. You obviously your family's first. Put that first.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but Skywalker, I just wanted to highlight what he was saying, spending time with fam. Thanks for highlighting the homie Austin Josh. He's been putting in mad work lately. And we
Appreciate
know
it.
that we've been seeing that, Austin. I kind of wanted to briefly just talk about because you mentioned music and that Jedi and the Table video uh, was pretty shocking because that was another what he can do this as well. Music, like you had Peely like crying in the chat,
Oh man, I love that.
seeing that premiere happen, like, and that's
On the
something
other song, yeah.
you're still doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I still got and I feel so bad. Shout out to Bishop. He recorded some stuff for me, and I had the time like a couple of weeks ago to work on this song we were doing, and then like I just didn't get. I fell through the time, and especially now with like the Rebel Moon premiere week, it was just like there was nothing we were gonna be able to do. But yes, I still have more music coming with Bishop, a really good song about the opportunists out there,
Yeah.
and I made another song called Better Than Cable, to Better Than Cable, no room at the table, dog.
Love that.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that's another really good one. My lady actually found that instrumental while we were like driving, because sometimes I do that like to like because as a creative person and like having OCD and like ADD, sometimes I need to get put on to something else. So the spark needs to go to a different synapse. And we do that sometimes in the car. I'll have her like go through a bunch of beats and like, all right, pick whatever title like you like best. I want to hear. And ooh, I like this one because it's music that you've never heard before, and it's music that you can create on top of. And she found this beat and it's very like mystery-esque, and like you weren't I don't know if you were around for this whole like Scooby-Doo beta cast that we had,
I
but
I kind of remember. I was probably like, yeah, a lurker, probably.
Lurker then. But they used to like talk mad crap about Syl and all that stuff. So I
Yeah,
kind of made some jokes about Scooby Doo and things of that, and Donald, Mickey, and Goofy as
yeah.
well. Some sort of shots in there. But yeah, it's music is something that I've been doing. This is the same mic stand that I've been recording with since I was like 17. I had an original one that's in a box somewhere. I still have it. That I recorded with when I was 15, and that friend that I told you about, who I got like we did the Spider-Man like point
Yeah.
to, he is like a I guess my alter ego. We used to call each other's alter egos because he's a big panda, very soft, like very goofy, funny, like does a bunch of impressions really well. He's also a very good artist too, and very creative. And he was the a person who pushed me to record and actually like do that as a young kid. He was like, "Yo, your raps are like ridiculous. You should definitely record it." And I had no flow. I didn't know how to rap when I first started. And this man, when I tell you, like he got on and recorded in my room, did one take and just put the headphones down, like, and he went, "Was that good?" Just like, and I just killed it too, like absolutely blew my. I'm like, what the? After I'm struggling and for so long for like hours, like, oh, dude, re-record. Let's redo that again. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. And he just one taked it, and he really showed me like how not to struggle with art, and like that's how you're not going to create art is if you struggle with it and you don't allow yourself to like mess up and just be free. You always tell me, yo, just breathe, man, like relax, take some deep breaths. I'm like, all right, dude, all right. And he helped me a lot with growing my music. All of my music I still send to him first.
Nice.
Hey, how's this sound, dude? I still send to him to this day. He's still the first person I send my music to. But yeah, I that was like my first love, I guess. Was music, driving in the car on long car rides, singing to songs and trying to like match the songs and sound like the songs, pissing my brother off, and then not caring. And like my mom would be like, "Shut up! Like let him sing." And then she
Yeah.
would start singing with me. I'm like, "Okay, we're all singing now." And my brother just stewing in the seat, like, "Oh, shut up." Uh, and that's my mom also instilled that mindset into me where it's like if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything at all, or you
Right.
don't have anything nice to say. Yeah, obviously certain when you get older you realize as an adult like certain things have to be said that aren't always nice, but the positive mindset like really was instilled by my family and my friends, and the push to continue creating. Like I had a lot of doubt. I still do oftentimes have doubt in myself. Um, but like luckily I've done enough and had gotten enough praise and confidence to instill myself to like, all right, let me do this. I'm confident this is gonna be good. But a lot of the early years, man, I just like I hated my own art. Like, man, I suck, man, I'm bad. This is terrible. Like,
That
and
Virgo
all
perfectionist coming out a little bit.
Sky called me a perfectionist today. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, I know those,
But that's what it is, and then like that's like the again like a double-edged sword of being fine-tuned and also being rough and trying to like find the middle ground of that. um it's a game that I love to play in the music world because you can really just you have freedom to create. You can find different noises that no one's play with and like really dive into different frequencies and hertz and bits and all that stuff. Like I love that. I love because as a kid that stuff really changed me. Like I would fall asleep to listening to albums full blast. My mom would come in my room and like flick on the lights. You're sleeping right now? I'm like, what? Like System of a Down, just like going crazy. Or in the same light as System of a Down, I'd have Queen. I
Yeah,
played Queen's best hits. I love Foreigner, Boston, all like a lot of classic rocks where it's just all melodies and harmonies, and they would have orchestras and choruses and choirs and have these epic tunes and violins, and it would just blew my mind, the different like stories that you could get taken on just by closing your eyes and just listening. um so it like that, growing up as a kid and being able to like be able to create in that, like my parents, they bought me a guitar. I never like learned how to play it well, but like I was able to just like learn the basics of notes. I played saxophone as a kid, as well. I play piano now too, like still like trying to keep the creativity going in all aspects, because like my family's always told me, the elder heads in my family, like it's a gift. And like when I make these songs, it's crazy to me. Like I love that you guys love them. I have a feeling that you will though, because like I don't feel like I'm making them. I feel like it's I don't know if it's a spirituality or a force, but it's like an outside energy. If we're all made up of like, stars and bits of cosmic dust and all that nonsense, organic material, like I really feel that when I'm making music, because like I don't know where that stuff comes from. It just comes out. And it's like, how am I able to just do like some of it takes time. Um, but like the choruses and like the feeling of just like, oh yeah, I can make something over this, like I can really put a message to this. It's like it feels otherworldly to me. And it feels like, if you have any belief in a higher power, like that's definitely where I get mine from. My spirituality is from like music, and that feeling of like how it can uplift you and really change your spirit in ways, and change how you feel. Like when we watch movies, dude, like some music that puts you in the mood, man. And that's what it starts with. Music is what puts you in. Like you can watch whatever you watch it with the sound off, it's not going to do a whole lot to you though, if you don't hear it. And I really feel bad for people who have a loss of hearing or bad hearing. But that's why live instruments are so good, because they can still feel the vibration of it and things of that nature. If you've ever had the privilege of going to a live orchestra, or if you never have, I recommend going. Like there is nothing like feeling the hum of an orchestra in your chest. Like it's crazy. And that to me is like cosmic energy. If you hit a tuning fork and you see it vibrating, like that's what we do when we like make music and create that sort of stuff. So yeah, man, I've just been lucky. Just been very lucky. And when we call it the speed force, like that's where I go. That energy that I have, like that's the speed force to me. Like that's the cosmic energy that I believe everyone has. That it's just um a journey to unlock it. Like you really have to know yourself, respect yourself, be confident in yourself, love yourself, to be able to access that freely. And I'm lucky enough where I've lived a life where at 30 now, I can say that like I can easily go into that whenever I want, and create that space for myself. And I've had the privilege of doing that because of my friends, because of my family. If it wasn't for like Skywalker being like, yo, and like you're dope, your opinions are dope, and then I was like, yo, I can also do this. He had no idea that I could do all the stuff that I could do, as far as graphic design, until I started showing him. He was like, I knew there was a reason why like I had you a part of the cool table. On top of like just like my tenacity online and my opinions and all that, and my compassion and my passion. On top of all that, like I always want to be useful and like be effective and commit. And that's what I like. I have the privilege of accessing that creativity and accessing that flow state or that cosmic energy, whatever you want to call it. And I don't feel like it's mine to just use. Like yes, I have my own music that I want to create, and like, but what did I work on first all this week? Like thumbnails, music videos, backgrounds, all the other stuff for my fantasy football league, which 16 people were in at one point. Now 8 people are in. Like, doing all that stuff, doing a show with Sil. Like, I'm not doing anything for myself. I'm doing it with everybody else and for everybody else. And I feel most useful, most like purposeful when I am doing those stuff. Like, I feel selfish when I start to make my own music. and do those things. It's not until like you guys say that like, oh, it's so sweet, or like I touched the peely like I did with the one song, which I call that one's called Unapologetic,
Unapologetic.
um, because Mikey told us to be unapologetic with
Yep.
our fandom. We shouldn't have to apologize for how much we love these things. And I really, like you said, like I take those lessons, man, and I keep them with me and I carry them on because they mean a lot, dude. Those the
Yeah.
people don't like people might just be saying things, but I really listen. And I take those words to heart. So yeah, man, it's a crazy thing to kind of like look back on it now, I guess. But I feel that service most when I'm able to use my creativity for others.
Yeah, I mean, you really showed that. Shout out to your friend, first of all,
Shout out.
who told you to kind of, in my opinion, from what you're telling me, he was essentially giving you a lesson like Zack Snyder would, because Zack
Yeah.
Snyder has always said, you're the only person who can put you into this art, whatever you're making. I know
Yep.
Dennis has a question about how it is to be creative, but as an example, I want to use real quick. I hit up Good Austin because I know you have a background, obviously, in art and graphic design. And I was like, hey, I was insecure. I was like, hey, I don't know how to make the thumbnail, blah, 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 blah. But you, having obviously listened to your friend about, hey, just do it, do you. What did you tell me? You're like,
Yep.
no, homie, I want to see your version. Like, no worries. Like, I can send you some stuff, but here's your thumbnail. Like, I want to
Yes.
see your thumbnail. And so I was like, okay, well, now that you guys showed me bullshit, let me just throw something together. So I did throw it together, but it's obvious that you do take things to heart. You do listen, and you are very thoughtful in that, just like your friend was, to encourage you. So to Dennis, he was asking any tips that you might have other than that. I think that's a great one, to just do
That
you.
yeah, I mean that's very simple. Do you and what up, Necron? I guess it's a very a question no one's ever asked me before. So to be honest, I would say just try different things at first. Whatever intrigues you the most, whatever you want to create. Like if you have an idea in your head that you want to make something, find out how to get to that end result. And it might lead you to a spot you didn't expect you were going to be. Like you might have gone into something thinking you were going to sculpt something, but then you find out like, oh shit, I can actually get that 3D printed for way cheaper or whatever. But you end up getting the basis of what you need and you paint it, whatever it is that you want to do. You just got to try it. The only way to be creative is to like really try it. And I also say like, um, if for anyone who's like done any psychedelics or anything like that, they always say set and setting. Same thing for art. Same thing for art. You want to cultivate a space where you can be creative. If look at my room, guys. Is this a blank room? Guess what I hate the most in my room? Let me show you.
Here, let me put you full screen.
You see my room, how creative it is, and then this is kind of blank over there, but my hats, everything. You know what I hate most about my room? You guys see how my walls are covered and everything. What I hate most about my room, guys, is this. I hate this white ass dumbass ceiling, dude. Just blank. My nipple fan. I hate it. I hate everything about my blank ass ceiling. So,
You have a canvas right there.
right. Well, if I own this house and wait till I get to my New York spot, it'll be a lot different. My room's gonna be on
See,
steroids.
now it
Uh,
makes sense why you were calling out my behind the couch view about my blank ass walls. And trust me, Austin, it's not like I don't have tons of shit
I
either.
know you do. That's why I'm calling you out, dude.
You're
Get
right.
hanging up.
All right. All right. All
You
right.
got hanging up.
Push. Maybe you'll see some stuff show up.
Bro, you've invested so much into your collection. Now you gotta invest in displays. One of my favorite things that I have is these two display boxes right here. The books are knocked over, but if anyone recognizes that book right there, let me know.
Which one?
This one right here.
Uh,
Oh, let me try to get it.
The Secret? No. Oh, Hamilton. No.
No, dude. This book, the red star, dude. The black star in the red book.
Oh,
Oh man, am I gonna make me take that out right now?
What is it?
You're gonna make me take that out right now. Anybody in the chat before I take it out of its case?
Anybody in the chat know what
Nobody-
awesome
Oh,
shoes?
and shout out those. Oh, let me show you those shoes.
Oh, nice.
I got those. My loving mother got me those because I turned 25 and I didn't want anything. She's like, you gotta want something. I'm like, I don't want anything. She's like, let me get you a new pair of sneakers or something. I'm like, okay, I could do that actually. And those are one of a kind sneakers that I actually got. They were saran wrapped when I got them. They're like one of like 25 or one of either. It's probably more than that. It's like one of 100, but they're like red fuzzy suede Nike Hirachis. I only wore them once. And my friend, when I was wearing them, my friend's like, I can't believe you're wearing those, dude. Like it's my birthday, dude. What do you mean? Come on, let me wear 'em. That does anybody in the chat know what that book? You
Mama
don't know
Bear
the
says she
cover?
knows the cover. I was really focused,
It's
honestly,
because
on
we're all
the
Snyder fans here. It's because we're all Snyder fans here, man.
I was looking at the Dale Earnhardt, honestly.
The Dale Earnhardt. Oh yeah, there's too much. I have a lot of junior stuff over here too. It's the red book with the black star. Let me show you guys. I'll get it. I don't want to take it out of its case because there's so many. So that what's the other stuff in that case? They're all ticket stubs
Okay.
from my entire life. So you could probably go in there and find stuff from like
Concerts.
2007 concerts, right? Like Rush tickets, all sorts of stuff, plane tickets, game tickets, all the football games I've ever went. They've gone into a pile, and then eventually I got a display case because I want to fill it full of
Yeah.
just ticket stubs one day, and then like eventually I can just dump it out and maybe categorize it when I'm super old. But I think that's like the best place for them all to go, it's just in one spot. Mini golf scorecards of me and my lady. That's a memory. That's a memory.
Memory.
But all my memories go into that box.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that book I actually got as like a collector's item, and eventually um when it gets filled up, I'll take it out and put it on like an actual like shelf.
Mama Bear says she knew the cover, and I'm kind of. You said Snyder, and I'm like, okay, I
I know
think
I said because we're Snyder fans, you probably won't recognize it.
okay. I when I saw it, I was like, the first thing I thought was Hamilton for some reason because I guess like the star with Alexander
It
Hamilton.
looks like this. Oh,
Okay, I don't know. I'm blanking, man. Anybody know? Last call. Qatar. Do you know? Sin Havoc. You know?
it's pretty cool too because inside of it, it's got like this. I can't. I
Yeah,
can't.
I don't want to
No
mess up.
way. I have so much shit over here.
Very prized. Yeah.
I can't take it out. It's the book that Zeno has in Winter Soldier. It's
Oh.
the red book that he has, and inside of it, it has like files for Captain America and stuff like that. And it
Okay.
has like the thing that he reads, the whatever it is in
I was gonna
Russian.
say it's something Russian. Like that's my first
Yes,
thought.
yes.
I was like, but I wasn't
It's
even
the
thinking.
Winter Soldier book, dog.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah, that was my favorite MCU movie though, so
I
that's
love
why I got that.
I love Winners. It's top tier.
That's why I
Um,
got that.
I remember seeing that. I saw it in advanced screening, and I was like, wow. And then I just waited for that quality to keep
And
going.
Civil War was actually good because that's when they used it. That book is in
Oh
Civil
yeah,
War.
that's right. That's true.
And I loved Black Panther, his entrance and all that. Like that was probably the most DC movie that you're gonna get is Civil War because of
Yeah,
the politics and all the things that
that's
they
why
were
we
trying to.
liked it, right? Because
That's why we liked it,
it was
right?
very DC. Yeah.
They went completely ripped off BVS,
Oh yeah.
but either way, I still enjoyed that movie and I liked that storyline about how like there was a book that you could have and you could mind control the Winter Soldier. And I just was looking on Etsy one day and somebody had that. I'm like, oh, you could buy that? Oh, I'm buying it right now.
It's actually like, is it?
Yeah, the it's like the first like 10 pages actually have real stuff in it, and it looks like Zeno wrote in it, but then the rest of it is just like an open journal. Yeah, I could actually write in it if I wanted to, but I'm
Sweet.
not gonna. Yeah, what I'm gonna do when me and my fiance get married and we buy a house, I want to be one of those persons that actually has a guest book. And I want everyone who comes over. In my current house, we have a whiteboard, and I made everyone sign who's come over, and like they read a little message of the coming to visit us. I'm gonna do that though with the Winter Soldier book, I think, and have people, oh, I came on this day. Nice to see you guys or whatever. I like to remember people, and as you say, like because of my upbringing, I've had a really good experience with people who are compassionate, and people who might not have had the best life, but they still don't let that get them down, and they still find a way to like really enjoy things and really be happy, and bring you life. So like I've always wanted to do that to people. And I've been like I can't say how fortunate I've been um with my family and my friends and everything, and my my future wife. Like I've been very lucky, man. And even with like where I am now, like being on the, I feel lucky to be interviewed by you, man. I have someone even like interested in my life. I feel fortunate that that's even a thing, man.
Yeah, no, I I don't know if you feel like this, but as we have entered into this YouTube digital space, um, we now, when we're passionate about something, seek out people and we invest in those people online more so, I think, than we do on people in our, in our like actual lives sometimes. And so what I found I've talked about this on my journey to find you guys is that, I was caught up in the colliders and I was caught up in the Campias and I was caught up in, the Randolphs. And I was like, okay, this one person, I'm trusting them to give me all the news that has been going on during my work day. And I'm going to watch them and trust that they're giving me the news, right?
Accurate, unbiased.
And we've learned now 20 years in Gotham. So when I found this community kind of similar to you through Still, like you talked about earlier,
Mhm.
I really started to I wanted to watch as a lurker. And I talked
Right.
about this on Skystream after the Rebel Moon watch party, is that I think that benefited me because I had been burned, by people I thought
Mhm.
I was following the wrong people, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and I have friends who are still doing that, but I've been telling them about, everyone over here, they're subscribed and they're slowly being unconditioned to program, as it were. As I get off that Campia crap, I have a friend who was like, he's been in our chats and our watch longs, and he's like, he admits it. He's like, yeah, he'll like send me something, and I'm like, dude, I've been telling you, Zack has been wanting to come back since April. We were there.
We know.
I watched Campia. I'm not gonna lie. Even when I don't like Campia, I watched him every day. But the last straw for me was when he didn't. Somebody asked him about. First of all, he didn't want to cover the Snyder cut, and then lo and behold, he was like talking shit about it. And then lo and behold, did a spoiler review after the Snyder cut and was like, "Well, it wasn't that good, but I'm gonna do a spoiler chat and get your super chat money."
Right.
Then again, cover full circle. He was like, "No, no, nothing's happening. Zack's moving on, blah blah blah," and just totally lied about what happened.
Wow.
And not seeing that, I was pissed. And of course, the Randolph did it as well. And it's just showing me that you can't go to these people who are embedded with certain corporations, right?
Mhm.
And you guys are, you in particular, you're a fan, right? I've talked about this. Sky is a fan, and we're just getting our news basically grassroots type of style. Some of us have connections and whatnot, and that's great, but I love the guerrilla style warfare, as it were, to get
Yeah.
all weed through all the bullshit. And as I've lurked and watched you guys, I tend to think that I'm a good, I can read people, and I was like, these guys are who they say they are. Everything you've said so far in this interview, it all makes sense to me. And like I said, even if nobody's here, I know we have some people in the chat and whatnot, but I'm just kind of like, I'm doing this selfishly for me, understand this person a lot more. But like I said before we started, I feel like I know you, and I kind of do, but you saying all this just fills in the gaps, so to
Right.
speak, for me. Um, and the last thing I did want to kind of talk about, I don't know how much time you have, but uh, something you're still passionate about is racing.
Yes,
And
sir.
you talked about, as I was kind of spotting I shared with you my aunt, who's like a second mom, and her late husband, who died unexpectedly of an aneurysm, were huge NASCAR fans. And
Jeez.
I showed you his
Collection, yeah, dude.
Earnhardt, and my favorite number is 24. I was born on the 24th. My aunt loved Jeff Gordon, so
Gordon.
yeah, everything was either he was more Dale Earnhardt, my uncle, God rest him his soul, and she was more 24. So they would always, they
Yeah,
were going back and
you
forth.
know the rivalry.
Oh, they would take me. They would take me to Texas
Gordon.
Speedway. Like the racing part was cool, but at a certain point, I would like they would have like PlayStation trailers, and they would have like competition. And
Yes.
I was like, I'm gonna go. I would like sneak away. I would come back, but it was cool. It was cool. Like so, I kind of got that exposed to that type of race atmosphere, like you at a young age. But last I heard, you were planning to do more of the I forget what you call it.
It's sim racing.
Sim
Yeah.
racing, sim racing, competitive, and you are on your journey to still do that, or is that
Yes,
something in
sir.
the future? All right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's what I said by these gloves and stuff. Like, I can show you guys this again too. Like, don't fret, guys. I be practicing. I be practicing. Well, first of all, right here is my steering wheel. That's right next to my desk,
See, it's not
and
too
then
far.
the
Not too
pedals are right there underneath my feet. So yeah, I'm still practicing and but like I said, like um and I love and thank you everybody. Thank you also for asking about it too and bringing it up for people who didn't know that I raced and still have ambitions of doing so. Um I don't like feeling selfish because I feel like my entire life I have been selfish. So I'm trying to like change that going forward in my 30s and stuff and be more of service. Um so now like the fact that I like want to race, I do feel that that is selfish. But I feel better when people ask me about it and they want to see me race. And I also have to think about like my father and my brother, like they want to see me race too. They want to see our family name carry on into racing because the reason why that's a part of me, like you're like, wow, this artist, he likes music, he likes comic books, he likes movies and he likes racing? Like, what? What? He liked to run? He liked to race and run too? Like, he likes to what? He likes football? He likes basketball? How does he still have this base of racing? Well, that's just before I was even born. It was in the stars, man. My grandfather raced. Well, no, he didn't race. He built a race car from his like hands from the ground up. They took an old like Buick and they tore it down and built it back up. And he had people like help him with financing that. And then they sponsored a race car. It was a NASCAR circuit back in my hometown. It used to be a NASCAR like official track. And for dirt, because they didn't used to race on pavement back in the day. It was just all dirt tracks.
right.
Um, and my grandfather did that like up until unfortunately he had a driver who has George something now, I forget what his name is. But back in the day when they had those dirt tracks in the early days of NASCAR, they didn't used to have a flag stand which was elevated above and kind of like over the track so you could see them, on the start finish line.
Okay.
They had them down on the track. um, yeah, and unfortunately, there was a few accidents, and the last one, the last flagger that got hit was when they finally made the change, and that flagger that got hit was actually the driver that used to drive for my grandfather. And when that happened, the team kind of like disbanded, and they were all brokenhearted. So, later on down the line, and like I guess part of my story too is my dad's mom passed away when he was 4. So my dad grew up without a mom. It was just my grandfather raising 2 kids in like the 60s and 70s. And he was like the old school type of dad where like you needed the mom. You know what I'm saying? Dad goes to work every day. Dad just doesn't want to hear it when he gets home. He wants to like chill out. And they didn't have a mom. So my grandpa was pulling double duty and they didn't really have like super plus things like my grandfather seeing somebody die in racing didn't want his son to go into racing too.
Understand.
So so it's like, and my dad loved baseball. My dad was really good at baseball, so he just like, all right, go do whatever. We'll go to travel baseball games, and that's what my father did growing up, is play a bunch of baseball. and he was really good. As still has a bunch of baseballs too that he showed me growing up of all his teammates who signed a ball, and he still that's one of his prized possessions. Is all his old high school team still all their signatures on a ball. He has that like in a case. Not a Yankees ball, not like a Boston Red Sox ball. It's a ball from his playing days. And that's what I hold on to as well. And with that racing, like they went a generation without racing, and then one day, I think my brother was like 7 or 8. I must have been 5 or 6. Back in the day, malls were all the rage, right? In the 90s, early 2000s, obviously in the 80s. But we had a mall in our city, and we were walking around, and they had a car show in there, and it was actually a go-kart show. And all it took was my brother saying, "I want to do that," and my dad was like, "We're doing it." And he asked my grandfather, and my grandfather like couldn't have been more happy. He's like, "Oh, yes, we're getting back into racing." And like as soon as my brother was doing something, I wanted to do it too, but I was too young at the time. Like I think when he started racing, I was like 5. So I had to wait. I had to wait and wait and wait until I was old enough to race. And when I finally was able to race, like it was no thought process about it. And there never is. Even if I go like race now, it'd probably be the same thing. Like I'm not thinking about crashing. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about racing as good as I possibly can and beating everybody on the track. And it's like a sense to the rhythm of driving. Like that's another thing with sound. If I can only give you guys what it sounds like for 25 laps in a go-kart and have that vibration go through like your body for from 40 to 60 miles an hour around every corner, feeling g-forces and stuff, like that's a rhythm. You're
Mm.
getting like people don't wonder why people race around circles, like because it's nice and it's fast, and like you have to be perfect on every single corner, and the minute that you make one mistake and you're out of rhythm, that you give a person behind you the opportunity to catch up. If you're not hitting the corners the same every single time, when, and like if you mess that sequence up, you mess up your whole race. And I don't know if that's just something that is a part of like my bloodline now is just racing, but I smell the fumes of burnt rubber. I smell the engine fumes, and there's something that it's like the sun hitting your face on a cold day. Like it's like just like music does for me. But racing, it's like down in my soul. If music like brings a rush to my heart, racing is my soul. And that's something that like I don't know why it is that way. I don't know what that equates to. If maybe back in the day our family was like a long line of like chariot racers or something.
Right?
I don't know like where that comes from, wanting to race and wanting to go against other people and like making those split decisions. But yeah, man, it's just where it comes from, a long lineage of racers and trying to be the best, and also like the the craft and artsmanship in making do with what you have, but making it better than other people's who think that they have more than you. That's always like what my family is, kind of the tenets of like our foundation. My mom told me that as a young kid, like we don't take handouts, we don't take charity, we work with what we have and we make it better. And I really got that from our racing days. Like we had a ragtag set up, but we made it work and it was functional and it made sense. And we had a routine, after Friday night, we drop our go-karts off at my grandpa's house. He'd clean them off. Then we go pick them up on Saturday. We'd have a weight day and we clean the tires on Sunday. And then throughout the week, you got to reweigh yourself because as a young boy, your weight's changing all the time. So you have
Yeah.
to be a certain weight for your car every week. And
Go
my
up.
dad's got to change that. Right. So like, it was a whole thing. If my dad, I still have the notebooks. They're in a safe spot right now. He gave me some of his old stuff because I wanted them. Because it's like he has setups and like notebooks. Now I'm not gonna ever use those for anything, but it's just like to me, that's art. Like he took so much time to figure out different setups. My dad did that. The guy who never raced, the guy who like never wanted to race, but because it's in our blood, like he was so passionate about us winning and us doing good. And like for his dad, oh man, we can't have the family name look bad. Guess where my grandfather's name is now? At the Hall of Fame at that track where yeah, exactly. So like it's a long lineage of my family racing. Even like there's a few of us the my family name. There's a very short few of us. You can Google it. I don't want to even say it because I'm sure people can see it, but you can Google it and you can find like all of us. There's not a lot of us, but the estranged cousins that I have that have the same name, they're all racers. Tell me how
Mm,
that happens.
yeah.
People I've never met before still race to this day. Their sons have raced. There's like 3 generations of racers in the Western New York area and greater Canada area. And we're all related. We're all related. So it's just crazy to me. Like that's the thing. But you can't, and that's why I came back to racing. Because even with all the stuff that I'm able to do, right? I'm able to be of servitude to everybody and feel purposeful. I still feel something missing, and it's racing, dude. That is what it is. Like I have to do that. I have to compete. I have to carry on the legacy in some way, shape, or form. And I would much rather obviously have my own car, have a setup, have a crew, have a truck and a trailer and all the money for the fees and for the gas and for the tires and for the gears and for whatever, like for the paint scheme. And all, I wish I could do that. I wish I had all of that, but it's just not feasible right now. So this is the next best thing that I can get. And the next closest thing is simulated racing, where NASCAR drivers go to train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm racing against them, so it's the next best thing. But obviously, I still feel like to this day, like that's why I wanted to practice with this because it's like a totally different thing. I can't feel the car. I
Right.
can't make actual adjustments. I can't be in it listening to the engine or listening to how the tires squeal. But I do get that in this a little in the simulation a little bit. But I still feel like, and I'll say this confidently, you can put me in a 4-wheel anything to this day, and I would be good racing it. I might not win the race, but you could put me up against anybody, and
You'll
I
find the
still,
rhythm.
yeah, I'd find it. Give me 20 hot laps and put me in a race, and I'll figure it out. I guarantee you. Still to this day.
I believe it. And there's something like it's kind of making sense to me, like how you're talking about how you race, you need that rhythm. And you as a Virgo and a perfectionist, you want to keep that sequence kind of going
Yes,
and catch that vibe.
exactly.
And okay, side question. I asked you, I forget the answer. Have you watched? I'm replaying Rebel Moon over and over again on Netflix, but have you
Gran
watched
Turismo.
Gran Turismo yet?
Yes, dude, it's so good.
You liked it?
I loved it, dude. I loved it.
Okay.
I
I was
loved it. It,
wondering.
it was it was a little far fetched in some aspects, obviously, because they got to dramatize it. But no, it's very accurate to the actual real story.
Yeah.
That what actually happened. That's a real story.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit. When I saw it. And so honestly, like I was just like, shit, I need to go listen to these Austin streams on racing because he even talks about like the real life. It's a real life story, guys. It's a video game movie, but it's not a video game. It's
Ah,
just a
yeah, it's
it's
real.
just a good movie though, right? Like
Yes,
and
Orlando Bloom.
Jamon Hansu's performance in that, like Jim
Woo!
Titus,
So good.
I it broke me. Like it broke me that one scene that
Yeah.
yeah, like so yeah, I've been ever since I saw that, I've been excited to kind of like, to ask you about this. So
We'll
I
have to do a
selfishly
breakdown
once
on
again,
that.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
put
there's so much.
this on.
I'll have to do a review, and I'll have you on to do a
Okay.
review of Gran Turismo because I definitely need to do a review of that on my channel,
Yeah, you
being
should.
that it's a racing movie. I think I'm gonna do that the week before the Super Bowl, or after the Super Bowl, because there's a week between the Super Bowl and the Daytona 500.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be covering racing a little bit more this year. Excuse me, because I love it, dude. I love it. I love racing, and I'm never not gonna love it, especially like growing up, just being a part of it so much. It's like I can't deny that part. Like everything else has been a part of me and made me who I am. Like I said, with like being coming to that realization now, like in the point of life that I'm in, um, I really for like a year was like, man, I feel like I'm so blessed. And then like again, the selfish, I try not to be selfish or anything, but like why do I feel like I'm still missing something? Um and that's when I figured it out, I'm like, duh, like it's staring me right in the face. It's like racing is definitely what I'm missing. Even like down here, one of the things that we would go and do is go to races, man. And like I introduced my lady to races, and she enjoys it now too, because like, oh, what do we do? We pick a car, pick your favorite number, like, let's see if they win. Just stupid stuff like that. But I'm looking at everything. I'm smelling everything. I'm like getting part of it.
Nice.
And that's even to me, like going to watch races is like a tease because realistically, I want to be on the grid. I want to be in the pits. I want to be a part of that. I want to be getting into that car, flicking switches, like fighting against the steering wheel, fighting against other cars. And um that's my favorite thing, dude. Is like you want to talk about creativity? That is probably where my creativity started. And I have a flash drive. I'm saving it for a rainy day, but my love you mom, by the way. She sent me a flash drive about a lot of my old races where she videotaped them.
Nice.
A lot of races in there. You'll hear my mom, what are you doing, Austin? Oh my God. Ah, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. And it's because like, there's a method and a normal way of thinking when it comes to racing and how you should pass and all that stuff. But I was like, nah, dude, like I'm gonna take my opportunities where I see them, even if it's even if you think it's a bad move or it's not the best move to do. I would still find a way to be creative about it and like make it beneficial for me. So there's a lot of times you'd be watching a race and I'm like up in the dirt for no reason, like off the track, but then the next corner, I'm like, oh, he's down on the inside. Like, what is he doing? That's just like how I race because I wanted to be creative. I wanted to find a new thing. And luckily, my dad probably didn't even realize that. He was like, oh, I'm not that creative. It's like, dude, you don't even realize how creative you are because he was the one like, oh, let's get an edge here. Let's find an edge here. What can we do to go faster? Like, what can we do to cut a couple of seconds off? Like, what do I need to do to help you do this? And oh, maybe we can cut this corner off a little bit here and blah blah blah. Like, oh, what if we did this and had a harder tire for this race? Like, okay, dude, like that creativity is really like started there. Like you got to try different things. And I guess Dennis is still here. That's another way to answer your question is like
Yep.
you just got to experiment. That's the best way to be creative. Like scientists don't know how creative they are either. But when they're conducting an experiment, like you're trying new things. That's creativity. You might have like a set formula that you're going against or whatever, but you created that. You created that like sequence of events to follow and then see how they play out because it might not even turn out like you think it does. You might be, but you got to try it and you got to do new things to see how the result comes. So it's the same thing with like streaming and being like a personality on YouTube and being a personality in the cell movement and then having the chance to do a sports show. And it's like, those are all things that I felt like I deserved to show with the world, but like I needed to try it to see if I could do it, to see if it was something that I even liked to do. And I've been lucky enough to where I could do more of it and continue to create and continue to be creative. So yeah, man, what a wild discussion this has been. But thank you for asking me about racing though, because that is like the foundation of it all. That's where my first sport like came from, was racing, watching all the teams. Because if you don't know much about racing, like those guys gotta compete for 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours sometimes, in a 138-degree car while they're fighting G forces the whole time and making split decisions. And you have sweat drop down your eyeball, but you can't itch your eye because you got two hands on the fucking wheel. Like
You're like super
I
tired.
right, exactly. So like it's a gladiator sport that no one realizes. Like it's such a torture to the body that people don't realize. Like you go over those bumps, like bro, we don't have shocks. Okay, like we're feeling every single. You want to be as low to the ground as you can. So all those bumps. I used to wear a rib protector for quarterbacks in my seat because I would bounce and thud. I would come home with bruises all over my ribs and all over my chest because sometimes you would hit your steering wheel even. Like it was a gladiator sport in the mud, in the
Yeah.
dirt.
And
And I
chiropractors love, drivers like you, like
right, right. As a kid, that's why I think I had scoliosis as a kid because I used to turn all the time and I would just be stuck in this position going around the corner. Um, and I grew out of it thankfully, but yeah, man, racing is such a foundation of it. Like being coached by my dad, having my brother be my teammate. And even though I didn't like him, like that's my guy. Don't talk shit about my brother. Like that's my guy. Uh, and when he was racing, putting all those differences behind you and realizing you have one common goal and really being able to put that behind you. And that's what a lot of people in this fandom have a problem with is that, and then they I not to say like you haven't been a part of a team, ha ha ha, no 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 boo boo. It's like I can see that you haven't been part of a team. It's obvious to me because you don't know how to put your differences aside in root of a common goal. And that's why it's easy for the rest of us who have been in part of those atmospheres, who have seen all different types of walks of life and skin colors and cultures and whatever it may be, and come together and find a common ground, and work together, um, in a group towards a common goal. It's very obvious when people don't understand how to do that. And it's like when they have a hard time buying in, it's like, oh, geez, like you must have never been exposed to that type of atmosphere and been lucky enough to have been exposed to that. Or maybe they were and they didn't have a good experience. But it's an indictment on yourself when you have a problem like joining a group. And I don't do this lightly either. Like I never just join anything because I want to be a part of it. Like not necessarily like as far as the flash goes, like stop right there. I'm in. I need friends. Like I don't need any more friends. Like I'm not trying to be that guy either, but like I have so many. I still hang out with the same guys and talk to the same guys. They're waiting to play games with me right now, actually.
Okay.
But like, and they can keep waiting. Shout out. I think they're watching right now. Shout out. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
But like I became a part of this community because I wanted to, because I wanted to contribute. I wanted to make the community better. I wanted to make everyone else better because I feel like I have that effect on people. And selfishly I say that, but I do it in servitude of others. And I try to really bring that energy and affect people and touch people with it as much as I can because I know there's a lot of bad out there in the world and I don't want to be one of those people. Even like when I'm protecting you, that's all I'm doing. If you see me being quote unquote toxic, it's like I'm never doing it because I'm
Just because.
really like mad or anything like that. Like I'm doing it for like justice or for like revenge or whatever you want to call it, but I'm doing it in protection of something that I hold dear, of people that I care about. I talk to every day. Like you said, like you want to talk about family, dude. The cool table is family.
Yeah.
And we talk to each other all the time. We have an understanding, and it's like I might not see my brother. I haven't, and I'm the worst brother, honestly, when it comes to like Snapchatting him back or hitting his Instagram messages back. But when I see my brother, dude, big hug, big hug. I love the crap out of that guy, and it's the same thing. When I see my boys, when I talk to my boys tonight, it's gonna be like, "What's up, boys?" It's gonna be when I see him, it's gonna be a big hug. I'm gonna kiss that guy in the cheek when I see him with
Yeah.
my homie. Because I love those people, and I love you guys too in this community, and I didn't join this lately, and I don't take any of this stuff like it's a pass in the wind. Like I really take it to heart, and I try to take moments and like praise people and honor people because they deserve it. And I know that you don't get people don't get a lot of that in their own lives. We don't get a lot of honor or respect in our normal day jobs or whatever. But for the people in this community that make it better, I hope that they know how much I appreciate them and like the cool table as a whole. Like we wouldn't have this community, we wouldn't be a part of it if it wasn't for everybody. Like we were other people too, like on the fringes at one point. Um, but you guys make the community better. All the comments, all the reactions that we get, if it wasn't for everybody, it wouldn't be as nice as it is. And I wouldn't be as happy as I am, to be honest, if I wasn't a part of this community. So as much as people want to thank me, like I have to like do a reverse flash on y'all and throw it all back at the same time. Or if you want to talk about circles and how things go in life and go around in circles and in my life, I had a trip one time. I did some psychedelics one time, and what I saw was everyone living ellipses of life, kind of like how the planets rotate in ellipse. We don't have perfect circles, but it is a perfect circle just the way it needs to be. And it might change. We might fall away from ourselves sometimes, but we always make our way back around to ourselves and who we are and where we're supposed to be. So in my ellipse, in this ellipse, where I am with all you guys on this rotation of life around the sun, man, like I really can't have enough gratitude for everybody and thanks and appreciation for everybody who gives me any praise. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, well said, Austin. I mean, uh, it would not be a successful. Like, I just wanted to kind of just talk about real quick. I know we're gonna start winding down. You got some homies ready to play, but it would not be a successful hashtag sells ESJL to Netflix, hashtag sells Snyderverse to Netflix trending day without everybody putting in work. And I saw people going at it with all
Oh
the posts. Shout out to everyone. I saw like TJ, Marcus, Sin Havoc, and a lot of other people, Qatar.
Anatoly, A-Pass, Rock
Yeah,
Talks.
Fox, Mama Bear, like everybody here.
Even.
We trended, we trended on Rebel Moon release day and made an impact, I would say, because we're all celebrating the fact that it's number one.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
and okay, I wanted to ask you during the Rebel Moon watch along, you heard a name of a character named Eris.
Yes.
Is that tied to anything about racing or mythology, or what's the origin of Eris as a nickname for
As
Austin?
my nickname, it's just like that has no the origin. I got that nickname from people I used to run with.
Okay.
They started that nickname and then it caught on. And my boys, who I'm boys with now, that's my nickname for them. Like it was so funny because it's almost like I had two different like aliases. I was Austin in outside of the city, and when I would go inside the city, I was Ariz. That's what they actually call me instead of Eris. But funny enough, all of the old dads that I would go meet, like all my buddies had old dads,
Uh,
they would call me Aries or
Aries.
Aris. Like they would always mess it up. So
Okay, it
I heard
became
it a lot of ways. But yes, it's literally my first the what we did, and everyone gave themselves nicknames, but they gave me a nickname during track. They took their first and last names and then they added a little flavor to it. That's what they said. So that's literally the origin of it. But for some reason, it just stuck. And I actually looked that up the other day when that happened. I saw that. So also, while we're talking about Aris in the movie Rebel Moon, he is actually the one who shoots the guy in the barn. It's not Jimmy. Jimmy does not shoot anybody. I want to. Jimmy
really?
is looking at the gun. If you guys play it back, it's Aris. Aris is there the whole time with a gun next to Cora. Cora's looking back at Jimmy. The other guy's looking at Jimmy. Jimmy's thinking about Jimmy. Aris is like, yo, I got locked on eyes target. Boom, boom.
You're right.
He's the
You're
one who shoots
right.
him. He's the one who shoots him.
I thought it was Jimmy though.
Everyone thinks I keep hearing. I heard it earlier today. I wasn't able. I didn't. I was listening to Skywalker's playback. Everyone thinks Jimmy did it. I saw on the Squidward meme of like, oh, Jimmy running out of the barn after he shot the guy. It wasn't Jimmy, dude. He
I
didn't do
remember
anything.
he's in the corner, right?
He's in
'Cause
the
he's in the
corner.
corner.
It's Aris. Yeah, it's not. It's not
Yeah.
Jimmy. And if you want to know who, yeah, you're welcome, everybody. That's Jimmy.
Coming in with another
Yeah.
bombshell, post the logo.
Right. Another bombshell. You gotta look out for those things. But when I saw him in the barn, I'm like, oh, there's Eris again. Like, there's me. But so that's why I paid attention to that. But that's actually a play on a name, play on words, I guess, for a it's Aries and Ares. So there's Ares the ram,
Right.
who like brought I forgot the guy's name, but brought an ancient Greek to a city, and then that golden ram was sacrificed to the gods, and the fleece of that golden ram was turned into armor, and that's the golden fleece.
Mm.
And that, like, that makes you invulnerable or whatever. That golden fleece was used to like save a couple, or it was, I think Hercules used the golden fleece, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but like that's a whole different, one dichotomy of it is like Ares is the golden ram, and it brought um these two people to a promised land, but one of them fell off on the ride, so only one person like made it to the city where they needed to go, kind of like Cora and Kai. Um, Kai fell off on the ride, and only, but that ram that they were on, Kai's ship, still got them to where they needed to go. And that's going to be their battleship going forward. Basically, is the Kai's ship. So that's part of it. Is like the, if you want to look at like the mythology, but it's also Ares is obviously Ares, the god of war,
Yep.
who often gets overlooked. That he's also a god of like something else. It's not just war, but it's like, I think he's also the god of
Oh, is it love?
love or something like that. But
Yeah, it's something.
um, and his like opposite is Athena,
Mm.
who
Oh,
in this case would be maybe Sam, if you're thinking about it, is Athena in this
mm,
case.
yeah.
But with a common enemy, Zeus, Ares, and Athena,
Courage.
courage,
War.
and there he is having courage.
Having courage to stand up against. Yeah, I mean, because
Right.
he's a frail dude compared
Frail
to.
little me, skinny little Ares.
Yeah.
So like that's exactly, I get that and I understand that, but it's just, I think he's playing more on obviously Zack Snyder's playing on Ares, the god, but just very funny that that's also my nickname, and that's
Yeah.
the good guy of the soldiers, because like I said, like I can be a part of the team, but I also don't have a problem like not biting my tongue and saying what needs to be said, and what I feel needs to be said, even if it's not the right thing to say. I have to like stand by my heart. And stand by what I believe in, and that's what Eris does in this movie. So very, very cool little aspect to the movie there. Rebel Moon is such a good movie, dude.
I know, and I know that there's gonna be a more. I guess Sky was talking about doing like a space with like a watch along and talking about it. I
I thought he
guess
was gonna do it. Might be going on right now, actually.
he said he was with family earlier in the chat, so I don't know if it
Okay.
got postponed. But I just wanted to, like, I was a little, when we were doing the watch along. I guess people had started it before the watch along, so people were putting spoilers in the chat. So then they were saying no spoilers, but then after we watched it, like they were telling you not to spoil it. So I just kind of wanted to give you a moment.
Oh, I thought that was so stupid. I
I
was
know.
like,
I was
bro,
like, well,
you
we
fucking watched the entire movie. What are we talking about? No spoilers. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. I wanted to really say that then, but still,
I could tell. I was like, well,
that's why I turned my camera off. I was like, what the fuck? That's the dumbest
so
shit.
I wanted to
Are
give
we
you
talking spoilers now? Yeah, dude. I don't know about you, but we just sat through this whole fucking movie. So we're gonna talk about spoilers. I know you just
I get it. They didn't want to ruin the movie because people were talking about Kai and whatnot. But I wanted to just give you an opportunity if you had any thoughts about the movie, because it was your first. I feel a little bad because like I was reacting and whatnot, but I hope we didn't ruin it for you. Was there
Oh no.
anything you wanted to get off your chest about your thoughts on Rebel Moon? Spoilers, just so you know.
You should have freaking watched this already if you're a Snyder fan and you're here right now. Um, what to get off my chest about it? So people have I know there's some issues people have with pacing. Like I didn't have, like I know you could probably have the same, and I really relate to you because you're someone who goes into things and wants to enjoy them, right? You're not gonna go into them and fucking
Shazam. When you were talking about Shazam, I was
yes.
like,
I
I
relate.
my family, like my nieces and nephews who are like a big part of my life, that was their first real DC introduction. I mean, my niece had saw Wonder Woman, but she didn't know Batman v Superman. She didn't know Man of Steel.
Right.
But because they watched Shazam, they wanted to watch Snyder Cut. So
Yeah.
if Shazam got them to watch Snyder Cut, I'm gonna be all there for Shazam every day. So
I'm
that's just
pretty sure in Shazam too they have like the Remember Superman shirts, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
in
I'm
Shazam.
pretty sure that's DC, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or it's Suicide Squad. I felt like it was.
It was
I felt like
Suicide
it was.
Squad. Yeah,
Was
that
it?
the Remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shazam came out after Justice League, um, and Aquaman. So, but you're talking about the second one, right?
No, I'm talking about the first one.
The first one. Okay, maybe
Yeah, I
it was
forget
all
where I saw that
after.
shirt. You remember the Remember Superman shirt? Like them flipping it around. It was
Yeah,
like
that was
remember.
Suicide Squad. That was
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Um, but yeah, I go into things wanting to enjoy them. So um Rebel Moon, like I went into it knowing I was gonna love it, first of all, because of everyone's like reactions to it. But like wanting to enjoy it. Like I talked about it yesterday and earlier this morning. Like, excuse me. It's a it's a new meal, a new dinner, a new like um whatever you want to call entree that we're getting to sink our teeth into. And like I have no problem with any of it. This is a whole new flavor of food and my mind's getting blown. Oh, well, it actually was a little bit cold in the middle, but then it warmed right back up again. Like, no, that's the dumbest nitpick of all time. I thoroughly enjoyed the hell out of this. This is a new food that I've never had before. Nom 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 nom. Gonna eat it all up, dude. And that's how I felt. Right? Yeah, dude. Feed me more.
More.
Um, I didn't think there was any problem with the pacing. I didn't think the team came together in any sort of way. It made complete sense. It was Kai's idea. He knew the people. He's obviously going to have some knowledge of the world that Cora wouldn't, because she's never been a part of the underground. She was in the Imperium. Gunner's not going to know any better because he's just a farmer. So obviously they were like getting used and manipulated the whole time. It made complete sense to me the first time. It wasn't like, oh man, how are this team getting? No, they all hate the mother world. They are gonna do it. Like, it looks like Nemesis wants to get the hell out of that cobalt mining place anyway, so she's down to go. Like Titus like wanted revenge or vengeance, so he's down to go. Blood Axe, you heard his speech.
Yep.
Did you need more convincing of why he wanted to go?
We ain't
Okay.
hiding. We ain't hiding.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like, so I had no problem with any part of the team coming together and then how they get duped there at the end. Like, I have no part with how any of that played out. I love the twist. I wanted, Charlie Hunnam to be the good guy or the bad guy turned good guy. But fuck them, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel now. Like, after that, and Zack allows us to feel that way. He allows you to take maybe you want more Charlie, you wish you could have been better, and that's how you feel. And then that's end. You're not at the FU part like I am. That's fine too. You all get to taste how you taste and have your reactions to that taste. And it's all different flavor medley of what oh, this kind of tastes like something I've had before. It may, but it's also a new taste at that same time. It might remind you of other things, but it's a whole new thing. And everything about this movie, I can't like it enough. That in-depth review that you sent me, I haven't been able to get through all the way, but they explain a lot of stuff in there. Like,
Guide, the companion.
yeah, dude.
It's
Like,
good, right?
basically Noble's he's not a cyborg per se, but they like the Senate and the Imperium. They pride themselves on the cybernetic enhancements that they get. So
Kind of like
basically,
this. Not. I mean, it's not Star Wars at all, but more or less, I was like, okay, how the dark side users kind of get corrupted and use more cyber.
oh yeah, I guess that. So to me, that's more of like an army sort of thing where I know Sky would be able to have more of a aspect on this, but I know there was a problem with steroids back in the day and like wanting to be the biggest guy and have the most power. I know it's a problem in a lot of police academies and things of that nature where you want to be the biggest guy and have the most power. So it makes sense for that, and it feels more cyberpunk to me,
Yeah.
rather than Star Wars because of those how the biomechanical nature of everything that the mother world does and how they play into that. I can't wait until me and Leon do our full in-depth review of Cowboy Bebop now, because I want to tell him on stream, it's like, yo, Zack Snyder's got to be a Bebop fan, like
I was
for
Yeah.
For real, dude. I mean, you want to talk about westerns and everything, bounty hunters, like that's what it is. It's a
Very.
new. I read you the description if I had posters right there. Actually, there's a bunch of like writing on it, but there's a description of Cowboy Bebop, and it's like a new age, a new genre. That's what it classifies itself as, like a Western sci-fi new
Mm,
genre based in like 2099. And this is like what you get from that. The same oppression from a big force, also these outskirts of the world who kind of try to govern themselves, but this big force can come in at any time if they want to.
take
And
it.
there's like a underbelly of the big force of that Senate. It's called the Syndicate in
Mm,
Cowboy Bebop.
mm,
But it's the same thing. And Spike is a defected soldier. Once in there, and he's being hunted down by a former guy who was in the Syndicate. He used to be his partner. That's a little bit more closer in that storyline. But still being hunted down. The guy's name Atticus Noble. We got Vicious. His name is literally Vicious. The guy was hunting down Spike. So the same sort of thing. And Spike has to form a team with a ragtag bunch of characters to, they have to survive first and foremost together out in space, and like be a team, and go to hunt down bounties together. But then they have to fight against Vicious and the Syndicate, and ultimately, I don't want to ruin the series for everybody, but like realize that like you're better as a team by watching that movie. You can't do everything alone. Um, and that's a problem that I like that Cora realizes very early on. Um, she doesn't, she does a lot of things alone. Like she beats up Noble alone, but like she doesn't have a problem being a part of the team. Um, but I do see a lot of Cowboy Bebop in Rebel Moon as well, and I want to see like there's so many interesting things about Rebel Moon. Like, if you want to ask me the most interesting thing that caught my eye and I want to see more of, I want to see what Dagus is like. I want to
oh,
see more of that. I want to see the underbelly of the mining people and like the government there. Because if you look at that guy, Dagus is actually their government kind of lets the mother world do whatever they want, or they abide by the mother world, so their armies don't come to Dagus, and they rely heavily on the trade of the mother world because of their barren planet and it just being a cobalt mining like planet. So I that's more Cowboy Bebop than anything to me, is
mm,
that right there, like the stations and all that stuff. And um they go to moons that orbit Jupiter and stuff, and they all of the moons that orbit Saturn and Jupiter are gas planets that warm these moons up, is same thing as Rebel Moon. So I see a lot of it, man, and I couldn't enjoy it more. Every time, I can't wait to watch it. I haven't had the time to watch it with my beautiful fiance yet, but we're doing that tomorrow, and I can't wait, dude. Like, yeah, like I'm hyped to watch it
that's a
again.
Christmas movie. Rebel Moon.
Yeah, right, Christmas movie. Get the team together. Uh,
Exactly.
but I love it, man, and I can't wait for part two. I can't wait for the director's cut. I think like part of me though, I'm not a big blood and gore guy, so I think in the director's cut there's gonna be a lot of me going, "Ooh," like,
Yeah.
"Ooh," a lot of that.
What about bones breaking? How do you do with
I
that?
hate it, dude. I hate
I
it.
was gonna say I have most Virgo friends that I have.
Hate
I
it.
don't like that for some reason. I don't know if it's a Virgo thing, but they
Hate
just
it.
can't. They can't watch
Hate
that.
it. Never knock on wood, I've never broken a bone like
Yeah.
in my body. Seriously. I broke my ankle as a young kid, but it healed so fast. And now I can do this weird clicky thing with it. But like besides that, like never saw a bone puncture out of my body, anything like that. And when I saw it on other people, like instantly like,
Yeah, you get like root.
whoa, I gotta not look at that. Like, let me get the hell away from that. I could deal with blood and stuff like that, but broken bones, I don't know why. Ugh.
That part with I was actually thinking might have been that part where Cora's fighting Atticus at the end, and she keeps on doing the arm. I was like, is that gonna be like a different shot? Because I feel like maybe
Oh yeah,
or like
probably they'll probably edit the bones coming through.
that's what I was wondering. Because the way it looks, I was like, that kind of doesn't look as visceral as I
It
think.
doesn't look. It's obviously not broken, right?
But apparently, I heard Zack was like, "We'll do," because he talked about the Corey stole, at the beginning with the village about the seeds like make love and passion, and he's like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
cut. Now we got to do the R-rated one. He's like, oh, you're gonna fall.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a feeling you might need to just close your eyes on that
Oh, probably.
Atticus Noble part. But yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts about it because I did want to know. You were the one person who hadn't seen it yet, and they were like, no spoilers. And I was like, no spoilers.
I know, dude. I'm so mad. I'm
I
so
was like,
mad.
he's the only one who hasn't seen it. And
I
I
was
get
so mad, dude. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, you haven't even been here telling me no spoilers. You weren't even here for the whole movie, dude. But
exactly.
anyways, nah, man, I thought it was I need to watch it again. Obviously, I've only watched it 3 times. I say only watched it 3 times. I've only watched it 3 times. But I want to see more still. And I need to see more first and foremost. There's a lot of character progression by Gunner. I hate him so much at the first part of the movie, but you end up loving him. I really like Turok. Um, and in that guide too, it says that he has a pendant of a Bennu, and that's his family crest.
Mm,
Unbeknownst to everybody else, that's why he was very confident he was able to ride it, because his family has a connection with the Bennu.
yeah.
So I think that part of it, like, man, like, when you go, some of the wonders of human history, right, is exploration and
Discover.
manifest destiny was a whole time in our, like, our history as a country and all that, and finding new stuff, Lewis and Clark and Magellan going across the globe and doing these new stuffs, and Neil Armstrong going on the moon and blah blah blah, and it's all that type of exploration. Well, in a day and age where it feels like we've seen every bit of the globe that we can and there's nothing new, here we are with a new universe to discover and uncover and explore and find new things. Like, whoa, where does this connect to? Oh, where does this connect to? Those moments are so, like, genuine and like one of a lifetime. You only get to figure out something once, right? Like, hit that aha, and we're getting more of those, more general moments where we get those, and Zack's crafted that for us. So I couldn't be happier as a fan, man. That's why I also, like, today I had a little diatribe on Sky's review. It was like, let's really focus and be happy again, and let's create art for Rebel Moon and do all this stuff, because and to me it's really capturing the kid in me, where it's just like, yo, let's go explore, let's go have fun. Like, I want to go run through the fields of wheat on Belt, you know what I'm saying? And gallop and, like, literally giggle. I want to go do that. Like, that's how I feel, like, inside my heart, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go run and explore, and fight, for these guys, because we all have some impressive force in our life that may, we feel, doesn't treat us fairly, or whatever it may be, whether it be the government or a group of people or whatever it is. So having the ability to, like, fight them or fight back is such a thing that, a lot of people don't have that ability. Well, how are you going to fight back against the government or anything like that? Like, cognitive dissonance against everybody. But, like, what I like about this is that, like, you can choose your side no matter what, and then you can learn more about each of them. There's so much history and wealth of lore, and not like anything. Like, oh, who's this person? Oh, well, they were here and they grew up here, and this is what they did. And it's like, holy shit, you guys figured all this out. Like, um, so I'm excited. I'm eager to learn about new characters, and characters that we've had the privilege to, like, really be endeared to over this last, like, couple of months. Like, first we get the cast announced, and then we get some set photos, and we're like, oh, like, Sophia looks awesome, Charlie looks awesome, Ray looks awesome, Digimon Haisun looks awesome, like, all these people, Staz, like, or
Yeah.
like, we got to enjoy that. And when they're talking about the director that we love so much, so fondly, and basically just, confirming what we know about him and his work uh, areas and work environments and work ethic, um, it's just such a time to celebrate and, like, rejoice. Like, how many people told us that we were crazy, and, like, there's this national narrative that we're all of these things, when we know that's not the case. And now we have a corporation that's telling us like, yo, you guys aren't crazy. We're actually as crazy about Zack Snyder as you are. Um, and it's being shown around the world that like he can really touch people as much as he's touched us, man. It's like it's just awesome that it reconfirms the fact like, yo, we're not alone. um and we never were alone. But for people who maybe like forgot that along the way, hopefully they can like come back out of their shells, just as you have come out of your shell to be a part of the fandom. Like we need more yous, man. But I know that's why we do value you and appreciate you and tell you the things that we do, because we know that there's not a Josh Herrera growing on every tree. Like it takes a wealth of life experiences and going through things to be the person that you are. So the more people that we have that are genuine human beings like myself and like you, the better we are. And I feel like we really get introduced to that in Rebel Moon, like the humanity of, and we're reminded of humanity even through Jimmy, right? Like,
Mhm.
can you be compassionate? Can you care about other people? Can you have empathy? Can you give up what you think is right to find a new purpose? Can you find purpose? There's all of that. All of that story lies within Rebel Moon. And even like people being taken advantage of, like the bad parts of life. Like Zack doesn't stray away from that. It's not just a go eat your popcorn and have a good time and feel happy go lucky. Like no, life is about struggle, and it's but the best part about the struggle is like you get to learn how to overcome that. And together we've all done that. And this story is kind of like um a good like innuendo on our life. Like this is what we do. We're all rebels. Everyone tells us that we need to do a certain thing a certain way, and they have their ways of doing it. And whenever we do something, we're bad and we're rebels and we're revolutionaries and yada yada yada. They want to call us all, who are the troublemakers? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what we are. And I couldn't enjoy it any more than I am right now. So I hope I'm like I can shed that off onto as many people as I can of just like really enjoy it, man. Like stop looking at it and like, oh, I can't believe that people said this about it. Like, fuck, people are gonna say whatever they want to say, man. Like
Exactly.
you can't really dwell on their opinions too much. And we have to just voice our opinions louder to know, so let people know like there is not a national narrative around this movie that's a bad one, or around Zack Snyder anymore that's bad. Like we have to just continue to be positive, continue to do what we do, and like to take a word from Zack Snyder's book, like after he said like, yes, absolutely, but in the meantime,
We
we
do.
forge ahead and we do what we do.
I saw you put that in the chat earlier. I was like, hey. Yeah, Austin. I mean, this has been such a pleasure to sit down with you and really dive into your head. And, like I said, I feel like I knew you and I know you a little bit better now, but you are who, there's no facade, I would say, about you. And shout out to Skywalker the Jedi, who kind of, I guess, brought that out in you,
Yeah.
um, to bring out, the rebel. And it is, Austin, and just and showcasing your art, your passions, and not giving F about it and being unapologetic like Mikey Sutton's, told us to be.
Yes.
You're once again showing that you're living, uh, you know, you're living, and you're also listening to what people tell you. You really have are thoughtful with what people tell you, and you take it to heart. And I really appreciate that about you. Someone in this space reached out to me and was getting feeling down about the negative reviews. And what you just said earlier is just, yeah, we're used to this, right?
Mhm.
We're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Mikey Sutton, Still Abdul, Rogues Gallery. So I appreciate that your voice is also a part of this, because it has helped bring me out into, just and me doing stuff. I keep on always saying like, oh, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not doing stuff. And then ultimately I'm interviewing the good Austin.
We're
So
like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
so thank you for inviting me to the table. And I don't know how much time you have, but I actually need to start wrapping up.
Me too.
So I just wanted to kind of, as we close, talking about Rebel Moon, how do you feel that we got this so far? Last I heard, number one in about 80 countries. I'm sure it's more by now, but how are you feeling that all these rebels have united, come out of our shells, and really blew this thing up? And I do want to say, just because it's number one in 80 countries, it's not over. The mission's not over. What we
Oh
need
yeah.
to do is replay this on a loop. I've been doing that as we've been talking for about 3 hours now. Every time I'm replaying this thing. I am listening into it. You mentioned Gunner earlier. I was actually like doing stuff earlier and listening to Gunner's dialogue in the beginning when you start to hate him. And I was like, the way he says certain lines, I was like, oh, I'm starting to understand him a little bit more. He's kind of honorable. Yes, he does do what he does, and he's like
he
back and
doesn't he
forth,
doesn't mean it.
but
Yeah.
he doesn't. Yeah, that's what I was kind of like. If you just listen to the inflection of his voice and how he's saying things, I'm like, on a second rewatch, I'm like, okay, I didn't really like him at first, and I'm like, I'm starting to understand him a little bit more.
Right. That's fair. And
But
that's a part of life too, is trying to understand people. Put
exactly.
yourself in their shoes.
But yeah, how do you feel that we are rebelling and getting this thing on number one?
Oh man, it feels great. It feels apropos. It feels very deserved. I feel like we need to keep it at number one for many, many weeks. Like
Yes,
let's just keep it there like a magnet. And I feel like Zack Snyder deserves that out of all of us. I don't like people might be like, man, I'm not gonna continue to do that. Like, bro, did you enjoy the movie? Like, the only way to get Zack Snyder paid, you didn't pay for. You're not paying movie tickets every time you watch this. Like, you pay for your subscription, right? How many times can you watch it in a month? Let me see. I want to know. Let's see. You can watch it the most in a month. Like, it's not about just watching it and enjoying it for yourself. It's about putting on for the rebellion, for the community, putting on for Zack Snyder, and showing Netflix like they made the best decision. So yeah, man, it feels great. It feels like we deserved it. But I want to see it stay there, man. I want to,
yeah,
and that's a part of like the background that I have, right? Like I don't like being a one-hit wonder, and I don't like people who put in effort for half the amount of time and
yeah,
expect to get the full results. That's never been an equation that works out. The reason why we won every year and continue to win on the sports teams that I was or racing where I was is just because like you figure out a way to win and you have to continuously work and constantly be consistent. And that's what about if you guys want to win for Zack, we got to be consistent and we can't ride the high and then just go down the hill with the low. We have to maintain our balance and just continue that hype. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I can continue to be a spark for this fandom and for Zack Snyder and everyone who enjoys his things. And mainly I like to push the cool table the hardest because those are my guys. And I would die for those guys, even though I've never met them in person. They're still my guys, because like that's the type of community I want to be a part of, right? I don't want to be a part of anything superficial or fake, or if I don't know who you are, if I can't look you in the eyes and like know in your heart that you're a good person, like I don't want to be around you. I don't want to be in your space. Like I don't even want to associate myself with people like that. That have just want to carry on and be negative. I can't stand that. People who focus on negative things. I'm like, dude, shut up. Like it's okay to talk about it. Let's talk about it and let's get out and get done with it. When we continuously focus on the bad things, man, we're just gonna be bad
yeah,
on top of that. So yeah, man, I love the fact that we're number one. And I say let's keep on keeping on. Let's keep pushing and let's not stop. There's no time to stop. And this isn't the end of the line. Like I know we got so close. We got Netflix saying that they want to acquire more the DC rights to Zack stuff. Like we got that. We're so close. We're closer than we've ever been from when we started this almost a year ago now. But this is like I said earlier, when I've seen men and women, boys and girls, at the end of a 3 mile race still have that point two to go and have to finish and see the look of I will murder you in their eyes. Like that's what we all kind of need to have, that look of determination. Like you see the finish line, Go get it. Don't just jog to the finish line, because if you do that, everybody else is going to beat you on the way there, and we're going to lose. So if you let them, if you let up, if you don't continue to push harder, we just ran 3 miles. You better have something left, and you better give it your all, because you don't want to be like my teammate Chuck, collapsing at the finish line knowing that you lost, knowing that you didn't give enough, knowing that you could have gave more that season, knowing that if you made some different life choices along the way, you would have been faster, you would have had more energy. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be on that side of history. You want to be on the right side of history. And there's only way to make sure that happens, and that is to prepare, and that is to continue to push what we do, and like don't stop. I know it's the holidays. I know you're gonna spend time with your family and all that stuff, but like go continue to watch Rebel Moon, continue to tweet about it, continue to tell people. Everybody you see this holiday season, I want everyone to make it a goal to some way, shape, or form slyly bring Rebel Moon into the conversation. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like smack it into the face. Have you seen Rebel Moon yet? First thing it goes, but like wait till people start talking about what they're watching and whatnot, what things they're watching on Netflix and things they're interested in and whatever, and bring it into the conversation. That's my goal when I talk to everybody this holiday season. That's what I'm going to be doing, and I really want that to be a goal for everybody else. They don't have to watch it if they don't want to, but just share your passion with people. And like just like me and Josh, we love people who are passionate. I can sit and listen to a woodworker talk about woodworking, dude, and just be like, oh my God, this is fascinating. Because if they're passionate about it and they know their stuff, like they'll have me hooked like a singer. And that's how my lady starts talking about stuff that I don't care about. But I care about it because she's passionate about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, ooh, tell me more. Um, so like I really want to see more of that from the Snyder fandom this like season, the season of Zactivation. I really,
Zack coming
yeah,
up.
exactly. I really want to see more of that out of all of us, and I think we owe it to ourselves to do that. I think everyone deserves to be happy in this community, and I really want you guys to be.
Well said, Austin.
Thank you.
That is amazing. I want to thank you so much for sharing your passions with us for over 3 hours now. I really the same like I was honestly thinking back, like I think I kind of told you like I'm not a huge sports guy, but when you talk so passionately about it, you ultimately I'm listening in sometimes on streams that I'm working and you and Sil, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, what's going on? Like what happened in this Twitter? So I appreciate you sharing your love with all of us, and that love does transcend through the screens that we have here. So keep doing you, homie.
Thanks, man.
Is there anything you want to plug you got coming up? I know we got the holidays, but I know
Oh,
that
it
I'm gonna.
doesn't stop. It doesn't stop for the football season. Keeps on rolling. Tomorrow, actually, me and Sil have another good countdown. We'll be going over the Sunday games and the Christmas games, and then on Tuesday we'll have our power rankings. Thursday countdown, and then next Saturday there'll be more Saturday games. So we'll have another stream. So yeah, a lot of football streams going on right now. Obviously, Skywalker, I'll be on his channel too for doing more Rebel Moon streams. And I would love to have you on for a spoiler review on my channel as well, because I think I need to have a Rebel Moon spoiler review.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do that since we didn't get to really have a conversation
I
about
know they shut you down. I was
it.
like, well, it's not my channel. Spoiler
I would
alert.
love to have a conversation with you about it. And maybe Necron too, because we didn't have Necron there that stream. We
Yeah.
haven't really heard his thoughts on Rebel Moon yet either, but that's what will be coming out. It's a lot of football. So if you guys are interested in sports, definitely subscribe to my channel. And football mainly. Racing will be coming in the next couple months. I'll have some races up on there, and you guys will be able to watch me race. I will be honest though, when I'm racing, I'm not looking at chat. I'm super focused. So it's gonna be mainly you just watching me just oh shit. Oh, but I think that'll be entertaining for people to watch and
Hey,
talk about my racing career as well.
it's passion, so I'm locked in because you had me captivated for 3 hours here.
Thanks, bro. Thank you for letting me talk. I appreciate you having me on here, and thank you for everyone in the chat for showing love and for showing Josh love. And make sure you're subscribed to Josh if you're not subscribed. because he is going to be a very prominent member in this community, as he already is. And we need to show him some love and make sure he gets some subscribers on YouTube as is necessary. Because ideally, we get him enough subs, we can get some super chats flowing on this side, and then he could just pay for whatever he needs to as far as fandom events goes, and we can get more content of Josh at this event and this premiere and reactions of him out of this. Like, Josh, you do so many things that you can make content out of that you probably don't even realize.
Yeah.
But we need, the more subs that he gets, the more videos he's gonna make and show you guys more of that stuff. So if you guys want to see more fan like events that you go to, all the premieres and stuff that you see, I'm sure Josh would love to show that, bits and pieces videos. I'm sure you can do videos on it too, if not live streams. But definitely sub to the channel and show Josh love, because we need more. We need to see more of your life too, bro.
Thanks, man. And I'll try to work on getting these walls a little less bare after seeing yours.
Don't make me come to my own city and Austin comes to Austin, dog. I'll come decorate your room.
I was gonna say real quick, because I was dying to get into the Rebel Moon screening. So I would search Rebel Moon Austin. And every time it was like, I was like, shit, an Austin tweet, another Austin tweet. Because you're all the top searches that would come up. And so I was desperately in between work, and I was like, I know, Austin, I know it's you.
Sorry, bro. Sorry. That's hilarious. The funny annoyance that you get. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was liking them though as I was seeing.
Oh, I didn't see that tweet. Okay, well, shit. But where are the tickets?
Exactly. I gotta get this screening. But thank you for plugging my channel for me. I appreciate that. I hope to get. Basically the goal is to just showcase everyone who's putting in mad work. Obviously, first and foremost, the Cool Table, the Syndicate Network. I want to get. I had Sky on. I had Mikey Sutton on. Rest in peace, Mikey Sutton. You're the third one that I've had so far, and so I want to get Leon and Necron, and hopefully still Abdul. But until then, make sure you subscribe to Good Austin's channel, and all the Cool Table members are down below. Make sure you stream Rebel Moon on Netflix all day and all night. I am going to go see my family. I'm gonna spend the night at my aunt's house with my nieces and nephews, and I'm gonna just casually work in. Hey, they know already. They know, but I'm just gonna like, hey, I want to watch a movie.
Let's watch a movie.
They're Zack Snyder fans. They are. They love the Snyder cut. So
that's awesome. That's fam right there. That's definitely fam.
Thank you for everyone in the chat who showed up. I know Austin's got some buddies to get to, so we're gonna go on and close out. But I want to tell everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, however you're celebrating this time of year.
Yes, sir.
I did want to just give some content for people who that might want to invest in this community, and no better way than to get to know the secret origin of the Good Austin, who's a prominent member of this community. So thanks for sitting down, Austin. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. And thanks everybody. And yeah, definitely need the rest of the Cool Table and Sil to get on here. I don't know how open everyone will be. Hopefully people, I know a lot of people have back guard their stories and everything like that. Yes. But I really feel blessed, and I want to share that with the world. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. But yeah, the rest of the guys, they're all very interesting.
Yeah, we'll get them one way or another.
Yes.
All righty. But until then, everyone, be rebellious. Be rebellious. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Y'all have a good night.
Peace. Till next time.